and your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only...
But why? $22 million in 3 fucking hours!
There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
Neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
What's your dream? To go away.
To go away. That's right.
Do you guys want to drink? I don't understand why everybody has to be so judgmental. I understand why mom's judgmental. I think it's because she cares, partially. I think it's also partially because everyone else is looking at her like, hey, Cody's just a bum. Cody's this, Cody's that, Cody's this. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
All right. Ooh.
GMCG, what up, y'all? It's a beautiful day here in markets. We got Bitcoin approaching 80K. We have Onchain pumping, plus MCG's live. Look, things are going crazy. Things are looking good. So excited for the stream today. Got a good stream planned here for you guys. What's up, Josh?
Yo, just chilling. Just watching these numbers go crazy.
Tell me about it.
Some of the hottest tokens in all of crypto were shared with you guys on MCG back on April 14th when they were all like 100K. And, you know, now they're in the millions. They're the hottest thing on Solana. Dare I say, eating into market share from someone who we've wanted to see potentially a bit dethroned a little bit. So it's good to see some fresh kind of platforms emerge here.
Yeah, 100%. It's a breath of fresh air at the end of the day. Look, guys, you know it. You know, last week we had Printr. We had the Printr guys on. Fed came on the stream. Did an absolutely phenomenal job on the interview, and since then the ecosystem has just been going nuts, right? Like, yo, what's up? GMCG, brother. Great interview yesterday, by the way. Great interview on Water yesterday, so I was able to go back and watch that. But yeah, look, we had the printer guys on. We had Fed on last week. He did an amazing job laying out the mechanics and the value behind the printer launchpad and the printer ecosystem. And here we are, proving out the thesis one day at a time, one runner at a time. And look, guys, if you've been in my TG, you've probably caught all these moves. We've caught the moves on Fat Choi at 200K. It's at 3 mil now. We caught the move on PVE from 150K to over a mil. We caught the move on Deployer, 220K. That one I mentioned on Twitter as well. But that's also in the millions now. Belief was another one that I mentioned earlier on.
Like
It's
2 mil.
yeah, yeah. So look, a lot of these we've been, a lot of these we've been all over. We've been all over these plays. I've been talking to you guys about these plays on these streams. I've also been talking about them on my Twitter, on my TG. And look, it's no hype, it's no KOL, oh my gosh, like Moon Boy talk. It's me showing you the data. It's me digging into the platform and to the the data on the platform and literally showing you guys, look at what's happening. Actually, let me show you something real quick here. Let me share my screen. Boom. Let's see, share this screen. Boom. Perfect. All right. So let's pull this up for you guys. So I showed you guys this. I tweeted about this, I think just about an hour ago or so. But Printr is now approaching 7% market share. They've taken about 10% of the pump fund volume. And the cumulative volume on the platform across all chains is approaching 100 mil. Approaching 100 mil, approaching 80 mil on Solana specifically, but 100 mil across all chains. So look, you see the numbers. It's not me being like, Moon Boy talk. It's not us just like, oh my gosh. I literally said on the interview last week, I'm like, wow, you guys are blowing my mind. It was such a great interview. It was such a great interview. So yeah, we've been calling that out. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the gains. If you guys look back to my first post going back here, as you can see, Printr was just at 2.95% when we first mentioned it last week on the 15th. Now we're approaching 7%. So obviously a clear jump there in market share. And, I dare say this can go to like, 15, 20, even 25% market share.
I think
term.
so. It would be great. I mean, what's the most we've seen out of peak bag season? Did it ever get close to Pump's market share?
No, but Believe did. Believe actually took away. It was like 20 or 25% to Believe at one point. And what I think is really important, this isn't a launch pad that is like solely dedicated to like one narrative, right? Like it's not just for AI, it's not just for meme coins, it's not just for utility, it's for everything, and it's taking meaningful market share so far. We saw when Bonk started to take off, they actually did an ICM push, but they had nothing on ICM. They had no projects that were, they had no good pipeline there. We saw them then like try to pivot back to memes, but that was dominated fully by Pump Fund. Additionally, you look at other launch pads that came and went, the Bags of the world. I mean, even if you look at this here, Bags is another one. It was like a crossover between meme coins and utility, but it was really like fundraising via trading. And so there was a bit of, something that attracted traders, but again, it was very, very niche down, and ultimately it ended up causing a lot more, doing more harm than good. But now you have this new platform that isn't just memes, right? I'm actually coming out with a post later on today that talks a lot about a lot about what this platform actually does. Like, it's not like I love the meme coin runner so far, but Printr has an MCP server that gives AI agents access to APIs and other capabilities. So you have a platform that kind of resembles that of Banker, right? Like, I know Banker is a little bit more with the access to compute and all that stuff, staking for access to compute. That's different with Banker, but the whole, the whole launch tokenization of AI agents that can happen on Printr, right? They can easily launch utility projects through this like proof of belief staking mechanism that they have. They also have ICOs and Dutch auctions coming as well. If you guys remember the Ford Foundry days back on ETH, we know that those went really, really well until the team got extractive and then things kind of fell apart. But that's just Ford. But obviously, Printr is doing something completely different. And again, they're reaching at multiple market sectors, right? It's not just memes. It's not just ICM. It's not just AI agents. It's not just utility projects. It's everything. And they're making meaningful progress in doing so. How many launch pads have tried, right? How many? We've seen many come and go. You guys remember, God, oh man, what's that? The peace guy, Heaven Dex. You guys remember Heaven Dex? They tried, right? So many people have come and have went and didn't really amount to much, but we're seeing something coming. Yep, you got it, Casats. And let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But yeah, Heaven, yeah. So yeah, so that's kind of what we'll be talking a lot about today. So let me give you guys a little bit of show structure here. So we have our first interview coming in about 20 minutes, and then we have our second coming in about an hour. These interviews are relatively shorter today. So at 12:30, where the Migrate.fund guys, they're coming back on, kind of giving us a heads up on what they're giving us some insight into what they're doing now. So we'll get some updates from them, and then at 1:15 we'll talk to the slabs from DLMM. Burnt 25% of supply so far, DLMMing and buying and burning supply. So yeah, looking good there. Got some great interviews lined up. We'll probably keep them a little bit shorter. But before the interviews kick off, right now we're going to go into some macro, some breaking news, and then as we talk to each, as we go through each interview, in between we'll kind of cover some things as well, some stuff happening on chain, some on-chain news, some on-chain stuff to be aware of. And then we'll dive into the real meat and potatoes, the alpha that you guys are here for, and we'll dig into some on-chain stuff. So we'll look at the Printr ecosystem. I know Noob launched, and that went completely under my nose. I don't know how I missed that. I haven't even taken a look at it yet, so we'll look at that live.
You had to catch in the first 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It was quick, but yeah, they did the old, this is what I like about Printr is just the staking thing is so new, and people are like, oh yeah, it's almost like a better version of what kind of supply control is, because you can see it's 180 days, right? That for sure, that's staked for 180 days. You don't know, it's not going to unravel on your head in a minute, the next minute. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, a lot of great things there. A lot of great things there to discuss. Let me actually retweet the stream and let the homies know. Remember last year when we first started, Josh? I used to do this live when we go live each time. I used to be like, yo, let me tell the homies in the TG that we're live.
Yeah. Markets are right now, so it's good to do that.
We live. Come
I can't believe, dude. Printr. Some people are saying this is saving the trenches. I don't know if that's a dramatization, but man,
no, it's not. It's not. And just let me show you why it's not. Actually, let me show you why it's not. I'm gonna pull up something for you guys, so that way, we truly get the essence of why. Number one, why I'm so excited, but why you should be excited as well. And I think this was it. I think this was the tweet.
Yeah, I
Wait,
mean,
hold on.
Crypto Jones, I actually said this yesterday on stream if you guys were there. We're going from the easy money phase of Printr kind of being over a little bit, in my opinion, and we're transitioning to the crime phase a little bit. So you'll see more and more of these, whether they find ways to bundle them or play with the supply control in some other ways. So yeah, just be aware. I mean, at the end of the day, you trade what you trade, but be aware.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, I think noob is at like it's like pushing all-time highs. It's, I don't really if something runs like, 1,000% in a couple candles, like holy moly. ROI. ROI is taking off as we speak. Another one for the TG homies. Get at me.
Oh
Let's
my
go.
goodness. I mean, at
That's
the end of
that's
the day, it's volume, right? Like this then
that's
pops
all
up
it
on all the
is.
screeners and it's like it just drives awareness to the rest of the eco. And now what's ROI? Retarded online investment? Like,
Yes,
bro, I
literally.
faded
And
ROI. I'm not gonna lie.
uh let's see here. 3x from the Dipski. Let's go. All right. So here's the tweet that I wanted to show you guys about why I'm so excited about Printr. The value Printr gives back to its ecosystem is unrivaled. And I want to make sure you guys understand unrivaled. Nobody else does this. 90% of fees recirculate into the ecosystem. And it does that by means of proof of belief staking, buybacks. It can put capital into the liquidity. The fees, number one, are the cheapest amongst all launch pads. There's no vamping. Tokens are multi-chain, and you can farm an airdrop while you stake, trade, and do all these things in the ecosystem. So why is Printr so good? No vamping, cheapest fees, and 90% goes back into the ecosystem. And then what I really love is the founder listens to the community. I mean, there was this tweet here that I quote tweeted where he's just like brainstorming some stuff like, hey guys, like, what do you guys think about this? Or what do we think about this? Or how do we want to approach this? Right. So, so there's a lot to take into consideration here. And what I really love is that the founder also interacts with the community. He interacts with just what's happening within within the ecosystem. So I really, really love that, guys. Really love that.
Holy ROI candled 100% in literally like 3 minutes.
Yeah, let's maybe we can check that out here real quick.
Can we get a chart going? This is crazy.
Yeah, this hit 700K, by the way,
Oh
guys.
my
This hit
goodness.
700K. Oh geez, look at that candle. Holy moly. All right, so here's the ROI chart. I totally lost track of ROI. I saw it sub 90K and I was like, man, retarded online investment. Like, man, that's like so funny. I chuckled and I realized like, oh wow, okay, like I'll put this on a watch list. I'll kind of put this on a watch list, keep an eye on it, but ended up never keeping an eye on it. And it was just going up. In fact, the staking reached 45%. So 45% of the supply is staked. So even if you're buying it now, you're really buying like this at like 250K circulating market cap or somewhere around there. But I ended up telling the TG, hey, look, let's look for a dip. And this is the dip here where I alerted the TG. I was like, look, this is the dip, 200K, probably the best that we'll get, right? Probably the best that we'll get. And lo and behold, look at that thing, man. Just absolutely candling. Just absolutely candling off this low right here. So yeah, we're up nice. Let's see. We're up, that hit a nice little 3.5x, off the bottom, off the call. So look, things are going really well. let's reel it in. Let's reel it in. Let's start top down here. And take a look at the entire market. I have a few things that I wanted to discuss with you guys, and I apologize, but my chart is going to look a little much today. GM Top
GM
Fumbler,
Top
good to see you, brother.
MCG Cooks. Yeah, I mean,
Hey,
the market's
said it.
cooking. The market's
said it.
cooking.
So here's Bitcoin. And again, my chart's going to look a little messy. I apologize. We're going to explain it all. In fact, maybe we delete this so you guys can see it better. All right. So, and maybe we delete this too. All right. So here's a look at Bitcoin. So we're rallying to 80K. I told you guys already, I'm cool with a rally to 80K, maybe even a little bit peaking above. I'm cool with that. Because I understand that there's liquidity to reach for at some of these higher levels. And I've been telling you guys also, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Enjoy the green candles. Enjoy Printr ecosystem, man. Enjoy ETH Onchain. Enjoy all the things, man. Enjoy everything that pumps in this market alongside Bitcoin. But don't lose sight of exactly what's going on. Right? Don't lose sight of where we are in the stream of time, because if you get caught up, then you're gonna miss when the market, like, local tops and it reverses and then drags everything down with it, right? So you have to be very, very careful. You want to enjoy the rallies, you want to enjoy the green candles, but got to be aware. So here's Bitcoin going into resistance. So let me give you the confluence. There is a 2-week FVG here. As you can see, we're running into that. There is a bearish there's a bearish OB here, sitting above us. 80K was that nuke that we got to back in November. So a key level there, a key low. And then let's look at one other thing. Just looking at confluence. If we draw a fib from the swing high to the swing low, you also see that we're running into like this golden pocket, right? So if you know, like, smart money concepts, that's how I kind of look at these charts. That's how I trade. You have this kind of bigger range here. We're at the 50% level. Up here in the red, that's where you'd be looking for shorts, because according to the fib, the golden pocket, the 618, great place to look for a position. 0.786, we talk about that a lot on these streams. We even use those for meme coins, but that's also a great place to look for position. So we have that. Going into lower, and this is the 2-week time frame, mind you. So that's why, like, higher time frame, the higher the confidence in some of these moves. As we go to lower time frame, the weekly, even on the 2-week, you can see it. But we the weekly, we already formed a 1-week SFP here. We actually invalidated this fair value gap, so we can take that away. But we also see here an SFP formed on Bitcoin. So if this weekly candle can go all the way up to, I don't care, 85K, but if it closes below 76K once again, then that'll also, again, confirm the SFP. If it closes above, then the SFP is invalidated, and we have to kind of like do a little bit of reassess. But again, as we go lower time frame, you see on the 2-day as well, SFP formed here. So, and then we're running into this area of resistance, and maybe we change that to red. So again, a lot of things happening here, and I want to still be cautious as we move forward, but like paying attention to higher time frames on Bitcoin, we're running into resistance. And let me show you the confluence throughout the rest of the market from the major standpoint. The majors are also respecting resistance. You see Ethereum here running into a 2-week FEG, as well as a multi-month downtrend. It hasn't broken out yet. Same thing with Solana. This was this little line here, that was actually a 3-day SFP that formed within a bearish fair value gap. So not really a good sign there for Solana. And we can take a look at that in a moment. Fartcoin. I think Fartcoin might be looking better today due to the market kind of vibes. A lot of times when the vibes shift, Fartcoin is the first to react, but was respecting the 1 week resistance there. And then also ZEC is also pulling back off of a bearish order block. So look, a lot of things happening here on the majors that say like, hey, this, again, green candles, love it, love it, love it. But have to be aware. Let's look at Solana real quick. Boom, on the 3-day. This is the 3-day SFP that I was talking about. As you can see here, bearish 2-day fair value gap, and then a bearish 3-day SFP there on Solana. Let's look at Fartcoin. Look at even Fartcoin still respecting the 3-day SFP, going right into 2-day resistance there off the 2-day bearish order block. However, we talked about this. We talked about this, guys. Met is going dumb. So Met was in a downtrend. It broke out of this downtrend, and I said, "Hey, look, breaking. It's not breaking out with this sense of fervor, at least at first, but a breakout sideways is a step closer to an uptrend." And that's what I said. It might not be like, breaking out of this downtrend with like extreme force, but going sideways is one step closer to an uptrend. And as you can see, we're now going into that uptrend. As we look at lower time frames, it's really within the last couple of 12-hour candles that we've really caught steam here. And I'm assuming because Printr is built on top of Meteora, so a lot of people kind of catching on to what Meteora is building and how bullish their platform is. Let's see here. Another one of the stronger alts also respecting the resistance hype. Look, I see some MA guys. I don't really use the MAs as much. I tried to kind of flirt with it at one point, but I don't think it works with my system. So I just like support, resistance, market structure, order blocks. And right now, there is this 1 week bearish OB right here. It's respected it once before over here. It's respecting it now. But I'm assuming that hype will be one of the ones that holds up. It's been, again, one of the stronger altcoins recently. So I would assume that it continues to outperform the market even to the downside, right? Like it doesn't go as low as the rest of the market. Here on ZEC, we saw this kind of cooling off this 3-day bearish OB. And it's bouncing off this like key resistance here, or not resistance anymore. It looks like it's turning into support. So we'll see how some of these things go. Keeping an eye on a Monad. We've talked about Monad when it was down here. It's looking pretty good. And we even talked about this key area here. I drew out this green support line a few streams back. This is holding really well. A few things to put on your radar as well here. SPX 6900. We know that ETH Mainnet is starting to pop off. So just something to keep in mind there. And we also have this. This order block here that we need to be aware of. And let me just draw that out real quick for you guys. Boom, boom. So there's a bearish order block there. So something we have to be aware of. Again, a lot of things coming into resistance here. And then lastly, Pengu is also getting a nice little pump off the bottom. But again, coming right into resistance. So a lot of things across the board is coming into resistance. All I'm saying is I'm not saying that I'm not saying that this is the time to get max bearish and everything's going lower. I'm just saying, take profits. Things are up thousands of percent, right? Like, we have Printr ecosystem going dumb. We have
Matt,
ETH on chain going crazy. We have Met going crazy, right? So gotta take all of this in stride, right? Gotta make sure that we're being good stewards of capital. If you're up quite a bit on something, then you wanna just TP a little bit, 25%, 45%, whatever the case is. Look at a couple of these ETH charts here real quick. We had this I don't know what the heck this meme is, but Flork on ETH up 8,200%. We had MAGA, Make Aliens Great Again, went up 11,600% off the
holy.
bottom, right? These are all within the last 2 days, guys, by the way. These are all within the last 2 days. And then, of course, we all know about Asteroid. This wasn't within the last couple of days. It's more like within the last week, but that's still up 28,000%, bro. 28,000%. So as you can see, like, these things that, like, on chain is going up, these things are going crazy. You want to be, if you're up on stuff, take a little off the table. Take a little off the table. The higher we go, the closer to resistance we are, right? So you want to just be good stewards of capital, be a responsible trader, and have some capital laying on the side.
And if
Okay,
you're
so
taking profits, do make sure you take your profits on trojan.com/@MCG. 45% cash back. It's the best cash back out of any trading terminal that you will get. And as we uncovered on stream, Trojan is one of the best actors in the space, really, really built from the ground up from the industry. So we love Trojan. They do a lot of great work. They have really great Telegram features that bring calls from your group chats right into your terminal. No need to copy over any CAs, nothing like that. You can see who's making the calls, when they made the calls, what they're up, etc. So I love Trojan. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Trojan.com/@MCG, guys.
Yep. So great stuff happening on chain. We have our first interview coming up here at 12:30, and Jake is in the studio with us. So again, we'll do this interview. In between this interview and the next, we'll kind of go through some on-chain news, some things happening, and towards the end of the show, we'll go into the alpha, we'll go into the good stuff that you guys are here for.
Get some charts going,
and get some charts going as per usual. But for now, let's go ahead and get Jake up. Jake, welcome back to the show. How are you, brother?
What's good, gents? It's been, almost a year, maybe. I think last time I was on, we had just launched Migrate Fund, and we were talking about migrations.
It was the end of the Believe, the ashes falling on the Believe era. That's what it was.
Yeah, man, it's been quite a journey from the Migrate Fund side of things, and we just actually used our own platform to migrate to our new token, Emblem. So on our 10-year anniversary that's coming up for the company in October, we finally got the Emblem token using our own platform. But it's been quite an epic journey in the world of AI and interoperability since last time I was here.
Well, let's give the audience a little bit of context here, a little background. So let's start with, the journey, migrate.fund last summer coming on MCG, and let's just fill everybody in first off, who you are, where you came from, and then we can kind of connect the dots from the last time you were on the show to now.
Yeah, it's quite a long story, but yeah, my name is Jake. I joined the crypto space in 2016. I joined Emblem Vault in 2022. Between that time, I was pretty much just a trader, made it kind of big in NFTs, grew a pretty big brand in what was called the historical NFT space at the time. If anyone remembers Mooncats, when they were rediscovered during the NFT era, I was the first person to sell Mooncats at Sotheby's auction house when they did their first NFT auction. So that kind of grew my brand. And
it's amazing.
And ended up, Mooncats, man, they were a fun time, a really good piece of me.
I was a CryptoPunk maxi. So when they did the punk auctions, I thought that was just like the coolest thing ever.
It was a good experience. You know, at the time my account was only like 3,000 followers, and I was at this auction with like Paris Hilton and Steve Aoki, and then obviously a bunch of the NFT legends who were doing the auction. I was just like this guy with a small account, and ended up using that to create a crypto podcast. And then I ended up joining Emblem Vault in 2022, and then became CEO of the company 2 years ago in 2024. Emblem Vault at the time was used for bridging rare pepes to Ethereum. If you've ever bought a rare pepe on OpenSea, you've used Emblem Vault. The company was founded in 2016, blew up kind of in 2021. And then when I joined in 2022, we've taken this evolution of creating an AI wallet and moved more into the AI space. And then ultimately we ended up creating Migrate Fund last year under this necessity to migrate this token Tensorium that we had. And ultimately we found out that that business model was, and the protocol was very much needed. And now since last time I was on, we've migrated 75 projects, about 15 million in liquidity. We work with, you know, Pump Fund and Radium and Bonk Fund and Meteora. And actually right now we're doing our first cross-chain migration. Bobo from Ethereum mainnet is migrating to Pump Fund on Solana. And so we're just going to continue to expand this out and allow any project who has a locked liquidity pool, and if they're in the EVM and Solana ecosystem and they need to move over to one place or another, that's kind of the frictionless environment that we're creating. And Migrate Fund at this point in time, outside of those numbers, has had over 1 million website views, 300,000 unique visitors, and I think it's around close to 25,000 unique wallets that have migrated since we launched last year.
Wow. And that, like, so you guys have a backstory. From our first show, I don't think I knew about the rare pepes thing, migrating that to OpenSea. So you have this like background in migrating tokens from, you know, older blockchains or kind of other ecosystems to new ones. You kind of rose the notoriety in our circle, at least, to do all the Believe projects, get them on to other ecosystems. Some of those charts did quite well after, or there was like this weird kind of dynamic where all of it was locked away and then there was a low float and it kind of did this like pump and whatnot. Can you just talk about that migration process in those 75? And then, we want to hear what Emblem's doing today, but let's go through this latest era of migration, because that's a really good time for your business.
So if you go to DeFi Llama, you can actually look at the numbers from revenue. I think Migrate Funds generated about 600,000 in revenue since we started. So it's not like not some of these crazy numbers that you see across some of these protocols, but I think it still puts it up in the top 1% or 2% of the industry. The migration dynamic's a little interesting. Some people, when we first came out, we're very against it, right? You're breaking the casino model. All the liquidity is supposed to be locked in these launch pads forever. Turns out that these teams actually are not fond of that. And when you give them this option to move to an ecosystem that better reflects what their desires are, it actually makes these launch pads more competitive, because now they have to create things to offer. When we first launched, and when we had talked, all the projects are migrating to Bonk Fund. And then Pump Fund came out with creator awards, and it's been complete 180 since then. The majority of them want to go to Pump Fund for creator awards. Most of the teams are pretty much fed up with getting no LP rewards in some capacity, at least kind of what we're seeing. So they're all migrating to Pump, or they'll go migrate to Radium and Meteora as just like a standalone AMM for those who are seeking more independence and control over their liquidity. Some of the other teams that'll migrate generally are for, I guess you'd say, better community. Some use it to rebrand. Some use it to kind of like a restart. We like to say fresh chart, fresh start, right?
Yeah.
Some teams do not like that, just like down only type chart. And when you create a new project, right, you get a fresh chart. And so do a lot of people who are on chain, they don't really know that it's a migration. They just see it as kind of a new coin, which we know in crypto, new coins always tend to do the best, at least initially. So you get kind of all these different dynamics, as well as you can have this better supply control. What I mean by that is when you migrate, essentially there's about 100 days for these holders to migrate before all of the unclaimed tokens are given to the team, right? We're just a non-custodial and decentralized protocol. We're not the arbiter of truth when it comes to what a team should do with their tokens. So we effectively created this dynamic where a migration essentially lasts 100 days between the migration period and the claim period. After that, all of the unclaimed tokens are given to the team to use at their discretion. Most of the teams tend to put it in their treasury. We've seen some teams do rewards, airdrops, burning, put it in a DAO, kind of etc. But during that like 90-day claim period, which you'd mentioned about the low flow is, if you get 50% of the people migrating, then essentially there's, 40 or 30% kind of locked up for that period that generally allows the chart to kind of go up and down in more of a volatile manner. A lot of projects do really well in the beginning, and then there is somewhat of kind of like a migration sell-off period, and then it's really up to the team to kind of take it to the next level. So we did see a lot of charts go up. We've seen a lot of them go down, and we have seen some teams kind of fold after the migration, but the energy around a migration is, I think, uncomparable. We like to call it the largest attention event a token will have possibly ever, because you have to have those users take their tokens and migrate them. So you have their attention now.
Yeah, there's a call to action for
Right.
Rather than passive holding.
And also the second part is once you take all those tokens and you sell them, you get that second wave of people coming in who are not necessarily watching the news of the token, but they are watching the price daily, right? Maybe even 100 times a day. So when they see that chart that goes down 80%, they all come flooding back into the Telegram and Discord asking what happened. And then there you have another call to action. So effectively you get the attention of 80% to 90% of all token holders over a 100-day period for teams to then push whatever the new meme is or the new brand or new product or whatever. And
this is an interesting kind of part of the market that not a lot of people know really exists. You guys have been the only ones that I've seen talk about this pretty thoroughly. I wanted to ask, like, within Solana, I think you've outlined it really well as the migrations happening between the different ecosystems. What about like from other chains onto Solana? Because we, like heard, most users, like Solana's best trading, blah, blah, blah. However, ETH charts, on base look quite good. Ethereum holders and traders are a little different than Solana holders and traders. Just curious, between the different EVM to Solana, et cetera, and the different ecos outside Solana, what does migrations look like?
So actually right now we're doing our first ever cross-chain migration. Bobo, who's a ETH mainnet, very popular meme that was launched before Pump Fund even, is migrating over to Solana on Pump Fund. You go to Bobo Council, I think is the Twitter account, or Rect Takashi is the dev of it. He's been very big proponent of this. He's just ready to go to ETH or go to Solana, where the liquidity is more vibrant, the community is a little bit different, and the blockchain's much faster. And also for him, the liquidity pool. So what we've seen with some of these memes like Mitchie, and now with Bobo, their market cap's like 5 million, but the liquidity pool is like 1 million or sometimes more. So it's tough to get that chart to move. So essentially when you relaunch on Pump Fund, you're thinning out that liquidity again to the normal ratios, which is about 2.5% of market cap to LP. And then all of that excess Solana is essentially put inside of a vault for the team to decide what they want to do with that. So like the Mitchie team ended up with 2,000 SOL that I think they'll have available to them in about a month or two when that 90-day claim period. Bobo potentially could potentially get 3,000-4,000. I think the war team ended up with like 1,000 SOL and 200,000 or 300,000 USD1. So a lot of these projects have thick liquidity pools. That excess SOL, because it's not required to relaunch on Pump Fund, it's basically put inside of this vault that's locked for 90 days. But once that 90-day period is up, the team can do whatever they want at their discretion. Of course, right, some people may look at this and say that team's then just going to take the tokens and rug or run away. But we put that 90-day claim period. The team cannot take possession of those funds, whether it's the unclaimed tokens or that additional Solana, USDC, USD1 for 90 days. So token holders can essentially evaluate the project during that period and say, hey, I'm in afterwards, or hey, I'm out, I don't trust the team kind of situation.
Yeah, and
right?
I want to pivot to Emblem, but before we do that, like the mechanism here is essentially you're telling everyone to migrate to a smart contract, which is like some vault, and then everyone gets to see the percentage that's migrated. And then we know that of holders, and I would like to know the exact number, but I would assume like 30% are pretty dead wallets of projects that are a couple of years old. I'm assuming, not paying attention. But then what you do is you sell all the tokens that you've put in this vault into the liquidity to get all the liquidity out of the LP. And then now you can take that as a treasury asset, put some of it in, the AMM, but keep most of it for, to grow the project further and kind of start fresh. Am I explaining that correct? Or can you give me a very specific mechanical step-by-step example? If you want to share a screen of one of these examples, that would be amazing.
Yeah, effectively, that's the right idea. So if you're doing that on pump, right, then that you'll have additional Solana left. I think it's like it takes 1,000 Sol or so to get to like a $6 or $7 million market cap. So you could just kind of do the math there based off of what's in the liquidity pool. If a team migrates to Radium or a Meteora AMM, that's not a launchpad, you don't have to go through the bonding curve. So that LP is unlocked so that the team can effectively change the swap fee, or they can add and remove liquidity kind of at their own discretion there. The person at the bottom, Crypto Jones, says, what happens to people who miss the migration? No, you have 100 days, right? And so after 100 days, if you do miss it after 100 days, those tokens are returned to the team. The team does have a spreadsheet that we give them of all the people who missed the migration. So a lot of teams, even after that 100-day period, you just have to go talk to them and they'll process the manual redemptions. But essentially after 100 days or so, we don't want to hold possession, or we don't want those tokens in our vaults that are non-custodial, right? That's obviously more risk to the protocol itself. And to get back to your question, Josh, I would say on average, the participation is about 60% or so during the migration window. So during that initial migration window, the tokens are one-to-one claim. Generally, it's about a 2-week period. So within a 2-week period, you're generally getting about 60% of people across. And then after, in that 90-day claim period, when people come back after that sell, you're getting generally about another 20% or so. On average, teams are claiming about 15% of the total supply that goes in for unclaimed tokens. I've seen as low as 3% with the zero migration. I've seen as high as 40%. I believe the Chunky team claimed. So, and I think it actually has gone much higher. So that's the variable. But I would say on average, teams are getting about 15% of the supply back. That goes into their possession.
I think teams should be doing this every 5 or so years. And it's kind of like, it's not necessarily, it kind of goes against the ethos in some way. So there's some messaging there, but I don't know. I think there's some validity to saying, look, a lot of these holders are not active or gone or lost their wallets or checked out. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's all transparent too. I mean,
yeah,
Mitchie team is a good example. They put, everything's on chain. The whole protocol is on chain. So you could track the wallets. Mitchie gives like good updates on what they're planning to do. They're putting the tokens in a DAO. They're burning some of it. And they basically let the discussion of the community direct what to do with those.
Like, this is a discussion that's ongoing around quantum security and Satoshi's tokens for his BTC tokens. Like, do they burn them? Because, you can't have that much of the float of Bitcoin, potentially quantum insecure and then have no way for them to be upgraded. And so this is like a similar type conversation, but we can pivot to Emblem. I mean, this is really, Migrate is a really interesting product.
Thanks. Well, with Emblem, the token Emblem that we just migrated to is going to be the token of Migrate Fund and Emblem Terminal, the AI terminal that we have. So we're going to use it in dual capacity. It just launched last Tuesday, so it's only been live for about 8 days, has a few exchange listings, sitting around like a $6 million market cap. But Emblem Vault.ai is our Emblem product. Essentially, it's a AI trading terminal. That's also, we're going to be launching a vibe coding platform for cross-chain crypto applications. So you could go in, and we're going to launch it here at the end of the month. It looks like you're going to be able to go in and build any type of application across Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, Solana, Hedera, Base that you want. We have, our AI wallet is one of the more popular crypto wallets on OpenClaw or ClawHub. It has a few thousand downloads on the Vercel AI. So it is widely used across these different experiments. I don't think we've had like a real big breakout use case yet, but with the Emblem Vault.ai is the website, with the Emblem terminal, essentially what it is you'll see it mimics kind of this experience of like what a Claude desktop is. There's a trade tab at the top. There's also going to be a build tab. So you could go back and forth between building applications and trading on chain with an AI agent.
Do you have a way to show us
Yeah.
potentially?
Yeah.
love to see
So
it.
let me go to the website here real quick.
Yeah, if you click at the bottom there, you can
Mm-hmm.
screen share, of course.
Yeah, so this I don't think I have this one loaded up, but basically the simple version here, right? This is the emblem terminal. So this is build. I could kind of show a little bit of a preview here. I don't think I've shown anyone this. So with build, right, this is where you could go in and build applications. So these are different types of apps that I've been kind of experimenting with. Again, this isn't live yet. It's in private beta. You go in here with your AI agent and you could go in and build. I was building a social signal app that tracks influencers on Solana, right? And gives them, it tells me to go long or short on tokens based off of what their tweets say. And here you basically come in and this is where you're doing the actual coding itself. And you have a chat, you have memory vaults. And then up here on trade, this is the traditional model. You could see here, you could come in and we have a wallet tracker. And on the left-hand side, we have the panel. So you have like advanced trading where you could track buy limits, sell limits, market buys. You could purchase NFTs on Ethereum and Polygon. We have Polymarket in, so you can actually place bets with AI, and you use the AI agent as a way to help facilitate what you're looking to trade. And you manage all your tokens up here, right? So you see Solana, Ethereum, you have Bitcoin of all types. We do support like ordinals and counterparty as well, because that's the kind of birth of the Emblem Vault. And you come down here and you can make different types of trades. Historically, what most people used when we launched this last year, and we do have missions now, so you could go in and actually earn some Emblem if you just go in and simply create an account. Most people were using this when we first launched it at the beginning of last year for trenching on Solana. And we had a lot of people hitting like 150x's when the trenches were very hot. And he does very well with token tracking. And so we've been just trying now to expand this idea of what an AI terminal is. And shortly, we're going to start looping in a lot of Emblem, the token, tokenomics into both the Emblem terminal, which is emblemvault.ai, and migrate.fun.
Got it. And what's like the key insight or product wise that kind of drove you to develop this? Obviously, it's a little bit of a departure from what you were doing before with Migrate. I don't know what Emblem was doing before beyond just like migrating NFTs and whatnot, but yeah, what's the key like product insight that said, hey, like I think this is the right direction. People are trying this out and they're using it for trading or whatnot.
Yeah, so if you think about like what the history of Emblem is, and I closed that up. So
yeah, no worries.
Emblem is what, if not the first vaulting company. It's been on chain since 2020. Vaults are now actually
Mythos leak plus Emblem. What's going on there?
There's somebody from our community. Everyone's excited for Emblem build because they want to build cross-chain applications. There actually might be a launch pad that's going to be associated with that as well. So think about building cross-chain applications with AI, being able to launch a token against it, and have the app basically self-funded within itself. So maybe that's some alpha there. But Emblem's a vault company. We started out as a vault company. We support every single blockchain. Our founder, Shannon, was a developer at Mastercoin in 2013. So he's kind of seen the entire on-chain revolution as a builder, very creative. In 2024, we saw that AI was coming. Our founder was pretty deep in AI for about 10 years or so. So we started using the vault to build an AI wallet. And once we launched the AI wallet, it kind of evolved into, hey, let's see what we can do. It was around the same time. Actually, we launched about a month or two before Banker launched, and before a lot of these other ones. We launched the wallet in November of 2024, and then in April of 2025 was the first financial component where you can actually trade on Solana using this wallet. And ultimately, the community kind of guided us. We offered that, and then the community was like, "Hey, we want to use this to find tokens on Pump Fund." And it was like, "Hey, we want to find tokens on Bonk Fund. Hey, I want to have this automated to where it'll buy and sell when I'm not by the keyboard." And so it's just kind of evolved, and now we're adding all of these different chains, and we do have some blockchain partnerships. We've worked with Hedera Foundation to integrate it there. We're working with some other blockchain foundation initiatives, and it's really just kind of this pursuit of what do creators, builders, and traders want. The trenches are not as hot right now, so we've been focusing more on the build, but no doubt in my mind that once it comes back, then people are going to start using this to start trading again. But I do think the vibe coding sector of AI in crypto or on chain is completely wide open, and it's a gigantic market.
I agree, and I think once you get that one person that finds a really novel product idea, and next thing you have a bunch of people showing up at your product. I mean, that's what Banker did. And actually, maybe a question for you is like, what do you think Banker did right that kind of led to their success? And have you taken some learnings from that to kind of recreate some of that success yourself?
Yeah, it's funny because they've been somewhat, we have like a joke in our chat, our team chat. They're always like we're building something and then they release it almost like a month before we come to market. I think their organic community was the big deciding factor. They had the MFers community really backing them, and I have a lot of friends in that community, and they stayed really native to base, and they really just doubled down on what they were good at, which was launching tokens on the timeline. And they stuck with this narrative of self-financing agents for over a year, right? They had the Grok narrative, which was that Grok has money, right? Because it was launched through Banker. And they really stuck with that narrative until the open claw phenomena come up. And then they really were able to scale that with a launch pad. So they've done that really well. And now you see Hayanon's kind of trying to do the same thing. And we're interested in that idea. But I think where our edge is actually we have 7 different SDKs that we've built across 10 years, from bridging to smart vaults to AI agents to migrations and such. And so we're going to leverage that to build this vibe coding platform. And maybe you'll see some slop crypto AI apps on the timeline, but it'll give people some things to buy if there's a token associated with it.
Gotta start with slop before you get to the the big projects.
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. And kind of the last thing here is, so with the emblem token, we're going to be integrating it into both Migrate Fund and the emblem terminal. I think we're looking into different types of staking programs per se. Right. With Migrate Fund, we've had over 15 million in liquidity migrated. And the largest project, we've had maybe 3 or 4 projects that have migrated over $20 million at the time of migration. Looking into options to where maybe emblem stakers can get a share in some of all the projects that are migrating through the platform, as well as potentially looking at, on the counter side as well, emblem stakers getting a share in all of the projects that may be going through the emblem build platform. Right now, you could use emblem to pay for your AI subscriptions. But we do have a lot of cool and fun ideas. With the emblem terminal, our goal is to get to 1,000 daily active users. Right now, we're at 100. So we still need about a 9x to go. At the peak, we were at about 500 daily active users. So it's come down quite significantly. And then with Migrate Fund, the goal is to just make this a frictionless cross-chain migration ecosystem across Ethereum-based Solana and Binance Smart Chain, and maybe whatever other opportunities are presented.
Yeah, the current token, so 5 million market cap. Like, what's the breakdown of that? How much is circulating versus how much does a team hold versus how much does your community hold?
Yeah, I won't say the numbers, but one of the ideas that we like that we've seen are these kind of like launch pool things, programs that are on centralized exchanges, where it's essentially like, you give the exchange 0.5% of your supply, and then that basically gets distributed to the stakers, whether it's like you're staking the exchange token or Sol or USDT or whatever kind of program is. And I think that can actually scale pretty well. One of the issues we've seen with Migrate Fund projects is a lot of these projects, once the migration's done, there's maybe 500 to 1,000 holders. So there is like this distribution issue that needs to supersede post migration, and we're looking into a lot of different product offerings for that. And so I think if you have this staking program where a percentage of the token could get distributed to, 500 to maybe 2,000 emblem stakers, you get those numbers up organically, and it helps get these tokens listed on exchanges, attracting organic activity, and getting the proper product labeling, like on RugCheck and all of these things, to showing that it's a very organic token.
Yeah, and we have like a couple minutes left here, but would you say, the exchange relationships, because you're doing migrations, you have to reach out to exchanges if those tokens, I don't know if that plays a role in terms of your, kind of, a unique selling point or a unique kind of value prop for anyone creating tokens on your platform. But yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts there or comments to add to that.
I actually just posted about this recently. Many teams who reach out to us to use our service is because of the relationships we have with the exchanges. We have personal chats with Binance, Coinbase, Mexi, OKX, Kraken, pretty much all of the major ones. And so we can help facilitate the migration. Granted, the exchanges all have their own operating procedures. So let's say for Bobo, for example, because they're the recent one, they had 7 different exchange listings. We basically go to the exchanges and we say, hey, Bobo is migrating. Can you please review this and see if you would support the migration? Bobo, unanimously, all of them said yes, they want to support the migration. So basically then we add the dev to the chat. They go through their verification protocol. And then once the migration ends, we have a back-end exchange portal that these exchanges go through to swap the old tokens out for new ones. And then the team actually gets all of the exchange tokens, and then they can sell it into the old LP to get even more of that Ethereum or Solana out of the LP. And then the exchanges, the users who are on the exchanges, they don't have to really do anything. And so we're getting to make this as automated as possible. The most difficult part of the migration, I would say, is actually the exchange facilitation, and not even as much as the protocol itself, because there are some
Well, they got to do their
curveballs.
security check, because they're not going to want to hand over everyone's Bobo and be like, yeah, oh, that was the right guy, right? So
yeah, no kidding.
Makes sense. Okay, interesting, Jake. I think there's some interesting product features. There's a lot going on here with Emblem, and as you refine that down and get traction in a specific area, please let us know, and we'll have to keep an eye on this.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. It's awesome to see you guys still grinding this out. This is like the popular medium now of crypto is this live stream, right? It was Spaces last cycle. It seems like this is now the live stream. So you guys have now a year of traction and history, and you guys have positioned yourself well.
It's been a really great year. I mean, the channel's grown crazy. Got up from 0 to 10 million impressions in kind of year one. Meteora really stepped in as a big partner and continued that partnership through the next year. So we're pretty fired up about it. And then, TBPN getting acquired, and now, A16Z spinning up their own live stream media. It's like, Twitter live streaming has become like totally a thing. Absolutely. So, and I think in the world of slop, I think why we're seeing this in the world of slop, having a real like conversation where, automation is not part of the discourse. Like, it's not a reply from a bot. Like, you're not worrying if I'm a bot. I'm not worrying if you're a bot. It's like a real human thing. So I don't know. There's something with live streaming that seems pretty interesting.
It's the organic nature, and also having typos in your posts now even more relevant to show that you are human. Yeah, shout out to Meteora. We actually just migrated to Meteora, and we're talking with them a few things on the migrate, fund, and build side. So they're a really cool team. And if you guys are out in Bitcoin Vegas next week, then let me know. Our team will be down there.
No, but we're at Miami. I don't know if you're in Miami.
Yeah, no, I actually live in Vegas, born and raised. So I'm out here in the city. Yeah, I used to work in the nightclub space for 10 years. That's how I ended up in crypto.
There you go. All right, Jake, you have a great rest of your day, and appreciate the drop in.
Yeah, appreciate it, fellas. Good luck out there, and see you guys soon.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Nice interview there. I mean, it's crazy that, we've talked to all these founders. We have a lot of new viewers, but for anyone that's, just started watching maybe the last couple months. I mean, we've been doing this for not almost a year now, officially, right,
Bro,
Josh? Like,
yeah, daily for a year. Like
we've been
properly.
covering pretty much everything. And I think what he said was super important. Like, when we already have a year of traction, but we also have built up a really good relationship with our community. Like, bro, a King's mentality, Crypto Jones, Top
Yo,
Fumbler,
day
you
ones
know,
right here.
the day ones, Daddy Duster might not be in here today, but Coal Town, you know, shoot,
Oh
even
yeah,
Dom was
culture.
watching at first,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy how far we've come, and it's been amazing, bro. It's been amazing. Chat, I look back and I think back to when Josh came to me and had this like super like high time frame thesis on like streaming, and where he just saw he just had the vision, and I was like, all right, cool, let's run it, and here we are. So, man, just amazing that we've been able to speak to so many people, and we're speaking to them now from a completely different,
Yeah.
standpoint from where
Did
we
you
were.
listen to the thread guy his stream with Kobe?
Dude, I got it bookmarked. I got it because I saw Kobe had like this thesis that he had laid out and everything. So I didn't get a chance to watch it fully. On my way to right after this stream, I'll be
Yeah,
checking it out.
really great listen. Really great listen. If you guys haven't watched it, go watch it. Kobe has like a lot of nuanced takes around why he's not streaming now or doing the podcast thing now. And largely he just says he's been out of the game for so much. He's just like,
I heard that.
There's like
That
more.
he said I'm old.
He's old. He's old. Which I think is kind of fair. I mean, you really have to be on the pulse here. Like we have like guys like Dom who are on the pulse. You're on the pulse. I'm on the pulse. It's like you got to be on it all the time, constantly. But Kobe also thought that there's going to be more like streaming influencers that are coming up. I know we saw that pump endorsement for some random Twitch streamer turned an X streamer who had like 100 followers, and she just went viral. Like her post went viral because everyone's like, what the heck? Like, how's it? But I mean, like at the end of the day, what you think about like that, like that's good for crypto. That's good for the trenches. So I don't hate these things, but I think it's funny.
So the reason why that went viral was because in the post, she literally says, I am at trading terminal. So everyone's like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, like it's just so all right, let me show you this.
Like
This
we're
is
like when we
actually
get to the
terminal.
phase where I mean there was a Twitch phase where like girls were in like a hot tub and stuff like that on stream. Like
Jeez,
we're getting close to that phase where like we got to get Dom in a hot tub trading because that's what gets views these days.
So this is exactly what she said, and it's now become this whole meme. So Terminal ended up posting it, but she said, I'm proud to announce that I'm officially a trading terminal.
That's hilarious.
So that's why the post went so viral, was because like everyone's like, all right, what are you talking about exactly?
Josh's favorite phase. Fun that.
But
that's hilarious.
But guys, dude, let's see here. What do we want to get into here? I got some breaking news stuff I can cover. I got some breaking news. I got some macro stuff. We already talked macro, so let me just hit some breaking news. So we saw that Iran has no plans to negotiate with the US on Friday. Apparently Trump wanted to start that. So obviously we got some headline manipulation on the way. So can't trust that. I don't even think the market is paying attention anymore. I don't know if you saw this. Going back to our conversation with Trojan on Monday, this made me think of it. Fed said, an ask for our community. Please help us lobby Axiom and GMGN to integrate Printr. Both have asked for integration fees and fee rebate that are what we would consider unreasonable and predatory. So I don't really know much about GMGN, but more so about Axiom here. When we talked to Trojan on Monday, he basically said that, look, these these trading platforms, they mev their own traders, right? You can't
Yeah.
even put slippage below a certain like 2-3% because they're meving that in order to give you your cash back. So they're not really, it's very predatory. It's very scammy, grifty. It's just not the best. It's not the greatest look. And he couldn't confirm this, right? But what we saw was a chart of all of the trading terminals and their trading volume alongside their MEV volume. And the highest MEV volume that we saw was Axiom and GMGN, I believe. And
Maybe I can pull that real quick for you, because I think this is like has to be like a stop trading on these products kind of moment.
100%.
Let me see if I can find it while you're chatting.
Yeah, so it just goes to show that, like, again, when you trade, depending on where you trade, as far as a terminal is concerned, what platform are you trading on, like a pump fund or a printer or a bonk fund or whatever, you're slowly eating away at your own gains depending on what platform you're trading on. If you're trading on something like a printer, and you're trading on something like a Trojan, you're getting more value back to you. Trojan gives the highest cash back, up to 50%. Bottom left corner of your screen, trojan.com/@MCG, right? Printer, 90% of the fees go back into the ecosystem. They recirculate back into the eco. And so you're giving yourself more chances at value, more ways to go at bat. And I see Josh, you got that up there. So this was the
So I'll explain this. This was a chart here showing on the left, the orange is trading volume, and then on the right is MEV volume. And I don't know how they measure this. I'm sure there's a pretty easy way of seeing this, but yeah, this is kind of extracting margin out of a trade execution. And obviously the interface knows that you're trading. You're clicking buy, you're clicking a button on their product, and then that's sending the order, and they can route that. Now I'm sure someone more technical can tell you exactly how these things are sandwiched. But you can see the different products that are using this and at what rate that they're using it versus the volume. So just something to keep in mind. DeFi Senpai does work at Trojan, and of course our show is sponsored by Trojan. But I think Chill's point is, and Printr plays into this as well, is like, what products and platforms are out there that are minimal extractive and the most efficient to trade on is what Chill's getting at.
Yeah. And so look, the predatory nature of these platforms are showing themselves, and we're seeing like little signs of that, right? This chart is just one sign. Seeing that Printr is kind of being more transparent about, hey, look, these guys have predatory fees for us to integrate into their platform. If you look in the comment section under that post, a lot of people are like, hey, look, just leave them behind. Absolutely torque.
Yeah.
I hope they don't integrate for a bit. The Axiom kids never lead to good PA. Literally, that's exactly what the comment section says. Price, in fact, the homie
Raw dog jupe.
Jeez. Yeah. Crypto Jones, you're right. GMGN, like I trade on with using GMGN for like my EVM side. I don't really see them as being like as like predatory, at least on the trader side. I'm not sure how they are on the back end.
GMGN has really low volume on this ghost tracker. I would assume they're down at the bottom there. I would assume actually they would be a little more higher.
Not many people. I mean, not many people.
But surely they're higher than like Maestro or like Pepe Boost. I've never even heard of that. I mean, there's Bonk Bot. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, well, you're right though, Crypto Jones. Yeah, the best is just raw dog jupe. Crypto Jones, Padre, and Axiom are the worst offender. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And it's just, again, we don't have visibility on these conversations that happen, right? Like what fees they charge, how they're, how they're communicating with these teams. We have no idea how they do that on the back end, but now we get a little bit of a look behind the curtain here, and we're starting to kind of see exactly what they're about. And as you can see, like I was saying in the comment section, price action on Printr tokens unironically better because you're not integrated with these platforms. So a lot of people constantly realize they realize that, hey, it's probably best to stay away, right? And this is from the homie OX Uberman, OX Uber M, I should say, previous guest on Thread Guy, and an OG from ETH days. Used to trade with him back with R28 and the boys. So shout out OX Uberman, Uber M, and maybe I can try to get him on the show one of these days. But yeah, Crypto Jones says, you're right, Josh. Something is obviously wrong with that graph. GN is one of the most popular terminals. Yeah, it definitely it is. I don't, especially on the more so on the EVM side. But I'm assuming that chart that you saw is taking into consideration all the volume across all chains on these platforms. Uber Mendez. Yeah. That's how I know him, as Uber Mendez. Yeah. Before he went to Uber M. Let's see here. What else do we want to take a look at? We got about a minute before our next call. I don't think he's here just yet, but we have slabs coming from DLMM, and already got the boys in the TG hitting me up, like really looking forward to this conversation, because they've done a lot of burns here over the recent weeks. So excited to kind of get their updates, see what they've been working on. In the meantime, while we wait for him to come up, let's run through some more breaking news here. Maybe I have one more for you guys. So news reports from today indicate that this Indian tanker fell for a fake IRGC crypto scam. They paid USDT to the scammers, thinking they could now pass through freely, and got shot at by real IRGC forces. First time a crypto transaction led to directly to maritime warfare. And I'm gonna real quick. Maybe we shouldn't listen to the audio, but I just find this entire situation really funny, that the grifting.
The audio was clean. It wasn't bad. But
okay.
It is sad to see
it is
this kind of stuff. I mean, this is how.
This is Motorangastan Marhedal. You gave me clearance to go. My name second on your list. You gave me clearance to go.
That's crazy.
Now. Let me turn back.
That's crazy. Like, this is the level of that, like, grifting that we've gotten to. You know what I mean? So, man, it's just crazy to see that. But I just wanted to cover that because obviously, these crypto scammers, whoever they are, they're getting more and more sophisticated as time goes by. So I wanted to just touch on that here real quick. I wanted to we'll touch on that later. This Solana being the NASDAQ of Onchain, if you will. Let's see. Anything else? I think some of these are a little bit older. We covered on Monday the whole rave thing, but basically there's a ton of insider trading going on. We're seeing a lot happen, in this sort of bear market. Now we're rallying. Now markets are looking good. But obviously, for a little while there's some scams, some DeFi exploits with
What's the rave situation like that? I saw this like completely rugged.
Yeah, so 3 exchanges are investigating. Basically, Zach XBT called some people out, and all 3 of the CEOs of the exchanges are like, all right, we're on it. But I think basically there was like a massive manipulation happening on insiders. Like there was like a play to like squeeze shorts or something like that. But essentially the Rave token went down minus 95%, wiping out $6.3 billion in market cap. So, yeah. So again, we see this in bear markets, right? I don't think this bear market will be as bad as the last one. We're seeing more adoption of crypto. We're seeing safer protocols. We're seeing a lot of these DeFi protocols. Yeah, they're going under, but they're not really affecting the mainstream crypto user at the end of the day. Like there's not a Terra Luna that has sucked in all of the money of almost every crypto participant and taking that and running. We're not seeing, an FTX style crash where, people have their money stuck on exchanges and they have to, and that exchange is going under. We haven't seen, VC funds like really like over lever and get affected by things like that. Was a contagion like back in 2022 that was like insane. I don't think we're gonna have that here this cycle. Yeah, there's gonna be stuff that goes down, which is why I want to cover stuff like Rave. Some of the things I covered last week or the week before. 22 protocols have wind down.
Up, in my opinion. It reminds me of the Ohm situation from last year. I don't know if I remember Ohm from last year.
I don't remember Ohm. Yeah, I don't remember.
We have Slabs got the right StreamYard. Sorry about that, Slabs.
Awesome.
Maybe you might have used an older StreamYard, but we got you here, buddy. How you doing, Slabs? Welcome.
Hey guys,
welcome
hey
back.
Josh. Hey Chill, how you guys doing? Can you hear me well?
Yes.
The boy, the Chad himself. Welcome back to the show, brother. How are you?
Good. I appreciate you guys having me on again. It's been a little while, so hopefully I can impress you guys with some updates.
Of course.
Dude, you guys have been impressing us, even up until now. Look, there's protocols. Let me ask you this question: how long has it been since you've been on the show? When was the first time you were on the show?
The first time I believe was in either October or early November, but I believe it was in October. So about 2 months after our launch, or about a month and a half after our launch.
And so basically you launched last summer and you're still kicking.
August, yeah. So right at the end of summer, going into fall.
So let me tell you why you guys are still impressing me. How many people are still building right now that have launched last summer? Especially within the Believe, that whole, sort of time frame, not many, right?
No, totally. And that it's definitely a bummer to see. But something that we've kind of always said too is we tried to build something that would last, right? We kind of were very specific about the model, the tokenomics that we built it around, and the way that we kind of funneled dollars right through our project, through our treasury. And then on top of that, right, the buyback and burn mechanism. I think something that we posted within the first 2 weeks of launching was like this thesis behind the death spiral, right? That a lot of projects face, where once they've kind of passed that initial hype or that initial, pump that they have, it's really hard to either recreate or hold on to that success. Whereas we kind of built a model, or did build a model, where we're able to hold on to that initial success and then keep building off of it month after month. So I think it kind of comes down to just like what we did in that first day, first week, first month, and being able to keep it moving, right?
And that's what I thought was really impressive. I mean, you guys, I believe from what I remember, your treasury was put together based on like, it was the volume that you guys got that first couple of weeks, or refresh my memory on how the treasury came together.
Yeah, totally. So essentially we take a mix of the creator fees as well as a 3% volume tax on all trades on the token, as well as on top of any concentrated liquidity pools we have for DLMM ourselves. So basically any trading that goes through the DLMM token, we make money on, and that goes directly into our treasury. And so that was kind of where it comes to capturing that initial hype, right? 8 months later, you can obviously see that trading volume for both ourselves and just about most projects that are, still existing from that time have died down. But that doesn't particularly hurt us, because we were still able to build such a good foundation off of that first couple months and that first initial hype, that we built up a substantial treasury, and then have been able to basically use that since day one. So again, obviously it would be great to have a ton more volume come in, increase the treasury at an insane rate. But obviously that's not particularly reasonable to expect in a market like this, right? You need big catalysts, and certainly something that we're trying to factor in, right? Like we want to have big catalysts, big marketing events that bring attention and volume and all that to our token. But again, we're not trying to cause, I guess, like unrealistic pumps or unrealistic expectations, right? We're really just trying to be as transparent as possible and still be successful, in front of everyone.
100%. So we've since we've had you on the show last October, our show has actually grown quite a bit. So there might be some viewers on here that aren't familiar with DLMM. And we've actually started our own DLMMing journey. So I know we're going to have another member of your team kind of join us to talk a little bit more.
I've been very profitable in my DLMs. Like my win rate is like 75%, 73% or something like that. So I'm on it, Slabs. I'm on it.
I love to hear that, man. Hey, maybe we'll have to poach some talent from MCG and bring you on.
Yeah, right.
But no, I mean, that's kind of something we said from day one too, is it's not so out of reach to learn DLMMing or even just liquidity providing as a concept, right? Like, obviously, I'm sure you weren't immediately profitable, or at least like you didn't have the greatest strategy to start. But
I was like my first 10 trades, I was profitable.
Okay,
not gonna lie, Josh was on it. Josh was on it.
But totally, so that's the thing, is like once you're able to build your own strategy, you kind of get a feel for what you're doing, and especially if you do have a background as a general trader, especially in the Solana trenches, it's going to be a little bit easier to learn or come up with your own strategy and kind of cook from there. So that's awesome to hear that you're cooking, man.
I'll tell you what's worked for me. I mean, partially it was the Printr ecosystem got really hot. There was, no liquidity pools really like set up. There was no TVL in them for a large time there on like Deployer and PV and some of these things. I was the only capital in the liquidity pool, and it was printing like 700-800% in 24 hours in fees. And I was capturing all that. And I was taking on a little bit of risk because these were kind of new tokens. No one really knew what Printr Eco was. But as it's attracted capital from Pump and other different launch pads, it became very lucrative really quick. Now it's obviously a little more competitive, but I think my strategy there was like find a new ecosystem, kind of bit of a novel mechanic, and then be the first liquidity in and just keep some wide bid-ask spot ranges. And Chill's bid-ask spot strategy also was very helpful too.
Right on. And I definitely think that the Printr ecosystem is certainly something to keep an eye on. I heard you guys just kind of mentioning beforehand kind of the extractive fees of a lot of other platforms and why Printr seems to be doing better, right? And just what they're transparent about and kind of how that translates to the coins themselves, right? So definitely want to keep an eye on it. I'm excited to see kind of how that ecosystem expands, because absolutely being early and being one of the first capital providers there, first liquidity providers there, is definitely going to be beneficial in the long run as long as they're able to keep it moving. So definitely a good strategy.
Yeah, 100%, man. So walk us through. So you came on last October. You kind of introduced the platform. You let us know that basically you guys will be using the treasury, DLMMing with it, and using all the proceeds to kind of buy and burn the token. It's been a pretty straightforward project, honestly. And you guys seem to have, again, with the treasury you've built up, just kind of use that to build a great foundation for yourself. So walk us through the journey from October to now.
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of has been pretty straightforward, and that's something I want to not get away from, but definitely add on top of, right? Not stagnating, not getting complacent, right? In your strategies, trying to always build in, expand the business, right? But from day one, right, it really has been straightforward in terms of like we've put our money where our mouth is and basically just followed exactly what we said we were going to do, right? Provide liquidity across a variety of different platforms, diversify across blockchains, Solana, Hyper EVM, right? Which has kind of been a nice place to put some capital, especially with Solana being down so much, right? So the diversification helped us. Again, keeping a solid, stable supply has helped us, so we're not too overexposed. That's something that we've been growing recently as well, up to about 28,000 in stables, which hopefully looking to deploy soon here if the pump continues. But obviously always cautious going into seeing Bitcoin going crazy, right? But yes, I mean, from 0% of the supply burned when we first launched, as of recently, right around 26%. That was a pretty big milestone for us, is passing that 25%, or a quarter of the total supply gone forever. Which again has gone back to day one of us saying that relative supply dividend to holders, right? So anyone who purchased DLMM in the first couple weeks, or even that first month of launch, now has a relative 20 to 25% more supply, or more of the total supply than they did before, right? So even like our team holdings of about 12% now is over 14%, near 15%, which again, hoping in, the next year's time, we're 50% down, 75% down, right? But definitely a step in the right direction to decrease that supply, and in turn reward everyone who's supported us since day one, right?
Awesome. So,
and then one thing I would say real quickly too is another metric that we recently had was the $60,000 in total yield. I think it's like 63,000 or 65,000 now, but as of the March data that we released, we passed $60,000 in yield and buyback. So definitely some solid profits going right back into that LP, which I think is something important to keep.
Awesome. And how much have you guys burned? I forgot if you mentioned that. How much have you guys burned so far?
So in the dollar amounts, that's the 63,000 number, but then in percent wise, it's just over 25%, or a little bit over 25%. So quarter of supply.
And team holds 16%, right?
Yeah, the team holds about 16% of the current circulating supply, but I think like the metrics is like 120 million tokens, so like 12% of what the initial supply was. So that's definitely good to see that increasing. Definitely something that we've gotten away from is doing one-off buybacks, and I want to definitely start leaning back into that, because I think especially if we can continue on this path, DLMM is going to be a lot more scarce and a lot more valuable. So trying to get as much as
you mean getting back to discretionary buybacks, where you see an opportunity in the chart and you kind of take advantage of that? Crypto Jones has a question. What pools are DLM most consistent printing off?
Honestly, the majors pools have been the most consistent, and frankly, for me, the least concerning, right? Because you don't have to worry about too much of the in and out daily flows, right? It's more about a general longer term kind of charting or plan, right? And so the Solana USDC automated pools with HawkFi have been great. Basically allowing me to set exactly the levels that I want to provide liquidity for, and then kind of rotate that liquidity as it moves through those levels. And then Project X has been a huge one for us on Hyper EVM, which has just been a Hype USDT and Hype USDT or USDC pools, consistently earning around 100% APY, if not more, depending on the volume. So those are phenomenal pools, and all while we think we're farming a pretty solid airdrop in the future too.
So maybe before we break these strategies down, what's your AUM now up to? Because I think it was like 100K before, but I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah, totally. So it's right around 80,000 right now. So definitely hasn't been increasing too aggressively. It kind of is a metric of that one, the prices of Solana being down pretty aggressively, but then also trading volume not being too crazy. So definitely something that we're going to try to key in on in 2026 here, and moving into Q2 is really making sure that we're efficient about our capital, but also trying to bring in as much revenue as we can, and certainly even potentially bring in new revenue streams outside of just the trading volume being our primary source.
Yeah, maybe on AUM, like I think I saw that you got a little pump off someone depositing 5K or something like that. Have you taken any outside capital, and what does that model look like?
Gotcha. So no, we have not taken any outside capital. And this does lean into something that I did want to talk to you guys about. So on top of not taking any outside capital, obviously we're a US-based company. And so with being a US-based company, there are taxes. And something that we announced on our last spaces about a week ago was that the DLMM tax bill was about $20,000, and we paid it. Yet there was no hit to the AUM, and that's because we actually paid it out of the team's pockets or our personal pockets, so as to specifically not hurt the DLMM treasury. We had put some money aside originally in stables. That $20,000 in stables was strategically earmarked for tax season. But the more and more we thought about it, we're like, if we can afford to to pay this bill, right? Why would we hurt DLMM, hurt the treasury, and essentially just kind of wing the project down a bit or put us back, a couple months when, okay, yeah, $20,000 out of pocket isn't great, but it still was, I think, the right move there. And
Slabs, you're an honest man. I like it.
Yeah.
Good,
so the goal
credibility.
The goal there is really just not hurt the project. And then long-term, right, is I believe we're going to be extremely successful. That $20,000 should pay itself back in spades, right? And at the same time, too, like that first year's tax bill, we always knew was going to be the hardest one because we're starting from zero and ending at, I believe, what was over $90,000 in December, right? So obviously would love to have that level of growth this year as well and have an even crazier tax bill, but, because that only means we did well. But at the same time, I don't think it'll be as hard to use project funds to pay off our own bills in the future. This first one just kind of felt like a bit of an inflection point, if that makes sense.
I got a question for you. Unless Josh, you got something else, but I wanted to run
I
on
think
something.
we got the AUM one, and then I was going to ask more about the strategies, but go ahead, and then we'll break into the specific strategies. We got 2 of them, but I wanted to make sure I got all of them.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chill.
So one that I wanted to talk a little bit about was, you mentioned that like you wanted to, the tokenomics are simple. You wanted to kind of mix things up a little bit. You want to add something in there. Would you ever consider like taking outside capital, like, hey, stake in a vault, buy DLMM, stake it in this vault, and and we can use that to earn yield, or maybe a stable coin vault, or just taking
How do you
money
scale?
off. Yeah. Like, is it just off your own profits, or can you use something like, other, funds from traders?
Yeah, totally. So I do think that is something that is possible, right? Is creating vaults on Meteora. We previously spoke with a team who's building on Meteora, and they haven't quite gone live with what they're looking to do, but essentially it was like hyperliquid vaults on Meteora where people could deposit. We could essentially DLMM for them. It would be copy trading, and then we could take a small cut of the fees, right? So we're definitely in close talks with them. Hopefully they release that in the coming, months here, and we could certainly try our best to do that. But at the same time, I think that is obviously a great way to bring in new revenue, but something that we've been considering, and not even considering, but working towards, is trying to build actually revenue generating applications or add on to the DLMM ecosystem to something, again, that brings us in additional revenue. So again, that's, if you guys had heard us speak briefly, I was on like a Meteor ecosystem call, and I've mentioned it a couple times in our monthly spaces, but we are actively building a liquidity management app that, should everything go right and should it have users and volume, will be a pretty reasonable or substantial revenue boost to the DLMM treasury and to the project itself. So I think that's something that is a little bit more top of mind, because it's less reliant on our specific strategies and less reliant on other people's funds, right, to be successful. Obviously, it still requires volume and trading and all that, but really trying to bring it into the concept of like building a successful business that has revenue and multiple strategies.
Yeah, I want to ask about this because right now, the DLM terminal was launched by Meteora like a month or so ago. Really great from a trading perspective. It's the first time I've understood, liquidity providing. I found a lot of edge. There's a lot of edge in DLMing, but does that edge get kind of, taken out by these vaults and agents? And I don't know how far we are from that, but want to hear your perspective.
Yeah, no, I think that's a super valid question. It's something that I've been concerned about as well, right? Because especially if we're going to be providing liquidity to some low cap projects, like I do feel that at a certain point, if you're bringing in too much capital, there is kind of that, when we see with like copy traders with low caps for like just the trenches in general, right? There'll be a huge spike as everyone rushes to buy. There'll be a huge addition to liquidity as everyone rushes to add liquidity, especially if it's automated. And then what are the consequences of that in terms of like the following buyers and sellers, right? Like, are they able to take advantage of that? And then that's going to end up hurting the people who just bought, or is it going to be something that really builds a floor of liquidity for the projects, right? And something that I've been keying in on or eyeing on is the Project Lyra that's being built by the Cypher Labs guys. First off, I think they're kicking ass based on all their win rates and whatnot, but I'm definitely excited to see, and we're trying to get in on the wait list for their, or we are on the wait list. We're trying to get in on their beta just to try it out, but I'm curious to see if they start getting a ton of basically assets under management for these different vaults, like what the projects that they're buying in look like, right? Or are they diversifying those assets across a bunch of different projects, or kind of what that looks like? But at the same time, that's only for extremely low liquidity projects. If you're trading an extra $5,000 to $10,000 into a, $5, $10, $15, $20 million project, it shouldn't have that drastic of an effect on liquidity or on the chart itself. So I think that it really just depends on what you're trading and how much flows behind it. But I think on top of that too, that opens up opportunities for people then to make even more money trading against it, right? If there's all these agents who are actively deploying liquidity and whatnot, there's going to be something that pops up as a way to make money from it too, at least I think.
Yeah, I got to sign off in a second here and Chill will continue, but do you use any other DeFi protocols like Jupe Lend to make the Sol USDC more profits?
No, I haven't used Jupe Lend in particular. Like I said, we've tried to primarily just do no leverage, no overly lending, right? Just for the safety of the funds and the safety of the strategy. But yeah, no, I haven't really used anything too outside the box.
Cool, Slabs. I got to run a little bit of, got to do something, pick up someone from school. So I'll see you later.
Gotcha. Appreciate your time, man.
Yeah.
All right, Josh. So Slabs, I guess one question that I have for you here was, I've been thinking a lot about DeFi. I mean, I feel like this DLMMing is this kind of new DeFi lever that we can pull. And you're seeing a lot of traditional DeFi get disrupted, circle back to Aave, even like the Uniswap tokens, and like the act of liquidity provision is still there. Buying and lending is still there. But I feel like the DeFi scene needs an upgrade. Like, how could the power of DLMMing kind of upgrade the DeFi landscape?
That's a good question. I mean, obviously, I don't have the perfect answer for you. If I did, we'd all be millionaires. But yeah, I don't really know. I think that, as you said, liquidity provision as a whole or as a concept hasn't gone anywhere. It's just become a little bit more efficient, right? I mean, that's essentially what concentrated or dynamic liquidity pools have done, is just concentrate liquidity rather than, over like a large AMM or just a large, life cycle or token valuation, right? But I think that at the end of the day, it becoming more efficient or just having more options for people to toy around with or provide liquidity themselves is always going to benefit DeFi, right? Because it just means there's more TVL, there's more money to go around. And I think that at the end of the day is something that DLMM was always, the project itself, DLMM, was always focused on, right? Like that was the core issue that I always found within DeFi, was that, or even just the trenches, right, was that there wasn't enough liquidity to go around, because I feel like everyone was just trading against each other and not, efficiently using their capital. The more and more liquidity provision kind of comes to top of mind, and I've been seeing a ton of people actively DLMMing or providing liquidity on, Hyper EVM, Binance, even, Base and Ethereum again. So, I mean, the fact that it's becoming even more and more popular, almost kind of like it did back in 2021, 2020, it is refreshing, right? I love seeing that people are using their capital in a different way rather than just PvPing each other actively. And I think that's really what's needed, rather than like a new particular shiny thing, right? Obviously, new softwares, new projects, right, is always good. But at the end of the day, it really just comes down to more people using their capital more efficiently, or at least in I think, a more holistic approach. Does that make sense?
Oh, wow. I'm on mute. I apologize. I'm like talking. I'm like, no, but I agree with you there. That actually makes a lot of sense. So kind of pivoting back to here to DLMM, anything in particular that, we're coming up on 30 minutes here. Anything in particular that you are excited about, roadmap wise? Like, what's the community buzzing about? What you got planned?
Yeah, so this is, I think, the kind of thing I wanted to bring up at the end anyway. It circles back to your question of have we looked into taking outside capital? And when you first said that, I thought you meant like VCs and whatnot, but then you pivoted to like just generally allowing other people to invest. But it had kind of sparked something that we have been targeting over the last month or so. And it's essentially it is trying to find outside capital to bring in and basically turbocharge the DLMM ecosystem, the DLMM project, right? So again, I spoke about building an app, trying to bring in new revenue streams, right? And while that's all fine and dandy, if it's successful, something that we realized is while building out this ecosystem and building out different apps that could bring in revenue, that's a perfect time to go out and try to raise money for the project and in turn raise money for the treasury, right? So that's something that we have been actively either applying to or reaching out to different VCs, reaching out to incubators, pitch competitions and whatnot. And so there is one that should be coming up in June that I'm really looking forward to. But it'll probably be where Slabs Docs is officially. So that'll be fun. But yeah,
no way.
Yeah, it'll
we got
be
Slabs Docs on the way. Let's freaking go.
Definitely a step in the right direction, right? But yeah, the goal there will be essentially to go out, talk about DLMM and what we've built so far, talk about the strategy, talk about why I think it's going to be successful over a long period of time, and then also show off kind of the new things we've been building and try to bring in a little bit of outside capital. And what that looks like, right? Again, there's a lot of different ways that deal could end up. But the primary goal is to turbocharge the treasury, right? So any dollars that we're able to raise outside of what it costs to build us the application and just cover developer costs will be going to the treasury so that we can increase the yields that we're earning. So I think that is kind of the best way to turbocharge DLMM. And basically after every single successful deal we make, the value of the coin, the value of the treasury, the value of the business should in theory all increase substantially, meaning it should be easier to then raise at even higher and higher valuations as we move forward, right? So really it all comes down to getting that first deal and making sure that it's good for everyone. But at the same time, I think that we've set up our business in such a good way so far that this is the time to potentially raise and potentially utilize our team supply or utilize the equity that we have in the business, right? And I think that hopefully the community agrees with me on that. And obviously everything we've done to this point has been to help the project and help the token. So we're not planning on changing that whatsoever now. Just looking at it in a different light.
Very nice. I'd actually love to have like a conversation with you, kind of off stream. I mean, if you're open to taking something, I mean, how much you, I don't really know if you can disclose this. So of course disclose as much as you want. But how much capital are you guys looking to take in? Like how I mean, the treasury value now, as you can see on screen here, about 120K. How much are you trying to raise?
Yes, I mean, it really depends on what we're getting out of it, right? So if we're able to increase our network, because I think that's a big piece of it too, is it's not just bringing in capital, it's bringing in the right capital or the right people. So I think it really just depends on who we're reaching out to and who's willing to take that deal, what they're looking for out of it too, right? Like, are they just looking to take advantage of our strategies? Well, then they might not be the right person because they're just going to give us funds and not really any direction, versus someone who actually believes in what we're building, believes in the long-term concept and wants to make a little bit of money off of it. That might be the right person, right? And so basically just kind of weeding out the wrong types of investors and trying to basically build something that works for us as a team, works for the investors themselves, and then at the end of the day, works for the community, because we're not going to do anything that would jeopardize the token. That is certainly something that I've talked about with investors as well. Is like, well, what does that equity model look like? Are you just going to give up the token? Are you going to give equity? You give equity and the token, right? And that is something that we purposely built in as a dual equity model, right? The token, but then also the business as a whole, or the treasury. Kind of the yield side being the token, and then the actual treasury side being more of an equity model. So definitely an interesting thing that we can do. And we've talked to people about the CLED model, where the token represents a portion of the equity, right? So that's certainly still within reach there. So again, it's not, we have not taken any deals. We haven't, there's nothing that we're currently like actively entertaining with no numbers out there right now. We're taking feelers and seeing what would be the best move for DLMM, right? But again, I do think it's important to talk about publicly, right? Is like, we are looking to grow, we are looking to expand, but we're not going to rush into it.
Absolutely. Yeah, maybe we have a conversation off stream. This sounds really, really interesting. But look, it's been a fantastic interview. I mean, you've given us some great takes, some high level takes on kind of the future of DLMMing, how you see it, kind of being positioned within the DeFi landscape. But then also gave us some really nice updates here on DLMM and what you guys are looking forward to doing here in the future. And, again, you are like one of the OG, the OG MCG projects that we've that we brought on, back in the day, and here we get you back again. So it's always exciting to have you on the show. Obviously, always open to you coming back and sharing and sharing more. But yeah, leave the people with something, with a sign off, where they can come and interact, where they can come and get them the latest on DLMM.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, we're always posting updates and burns every single day on the Twitter at DLMM Solana. We have our Telegram where you can reach out to me directly, talk to the community, reach out to me on Twitter at Slabs McAllister. I'm always checking my DMs and always responsive there and on Telegram. If you just want to ask about DLMM, if you want to learn about DLMMing itself or have questions about what we do, I'm always an open book there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Jakey come on once he does book a spot with you guys for the Trader Radio there, and that'll be fun to hear him talk about kind of behind the scenes of what the other half of DLMM is doing.
Dude, I can't wait. So we're actually Meteor connected us with their main DLMM guy, Crime, and I've actually been in Crime's boot camp. I've done like two sessions. After our first session, like, Crime told me, he was like, dude, like, you're the quickest one to ever pick up DLMM. And I've literally like immediately started trading. Josh was like, he went crazy, with his hit rate and everything. I kind of had to, because I want to generate some like freaking nuts P&Ls with this. So I'm trying to see like how much can I maximize this? Like how much risk do I need to take? And just kind of getting a sense of like all the boundaries. But I gotten a nice little strategy going here. I'm doing a 5 to 50 soul challenge, and probably from there to be like 50 to 200.
Massive.
But I'm making good headway so far. So I'm trying to get on you guys' level as far as the six figs DLMM treasury. I'm trying to get to that level here soon.
Well, I mean, like you said, compounding slowly. I mean, I've followed Crime for a while too, and I definitely pop into his TikTok live streams every once in a while. And he's killing it. The 1 to almost 200 soul already. So no, dude's a monster.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Well, Slabs, it's been an absolute pleasure having you back on the show. Looking forward to talking with you next time, and we'll definitely connect off stream here. I'll have the team reach out.
All right, thanks so much, Chill. I appreciate you, and give my love to the rest of the team as well. Thank you, man.
Appreciate it, man. Talk to you next time. Take care.
Bye.
Boom. All right, guys. Nice little interview there with Slabs. Let's do this. All right, guys. So a little quick update here on the stream. So Josh actually had to take off, had a bit of a family emergency there. So I'll be running streams solo for the rest of the stream here today. We got a lot that we can go through. So no worries at all. If there's any projects, any ecosystems, anything at all that you guys want me to check out, just hit it in the chat. Let me know. And we can always go through that stuff. So a few things here. I like to just start top down. I know we kind of talked about Bitcoin already, but I like to just kind of start top down a little bit on some things. On the macro side, something to be aware of, because again, kind of going along with that whole running into resistance, Rect Capital talked about the 21-week EMA, that kind of acting as resistance so far. Y'all been keeping an eye on XBT. Is that the ETH launch? Is that the ETH launch? You know what? That could be the next ETH rotation here. I'll talk about some of. Is that the 2027 token? Let me know. I know there was like a couple launches. I think there was like 2027, and then there was another one. Let me know, Torque. Appreciate you, Top Fumbler. Definitely Godspeed to the guy. But yeah, so we're kind of running into a little bit of resistance here on Bitcoin. So, just a little, I just want to cover these so we actually have the proper perspective on this. On the opposite side here, we actually have Honey XBT, a very well respected trader, in my opinion, as far as her calls are concerned. She's actually like, looking at us running well into the 80,000s, right? Potentially even into the 90Ks, over these next couple of weeks. And I believe, however, it will be sell in May, go away. That's where I think we are right now in the stream of time. We've seen sell in May, go away play out, over these last, it didn't play out last year. Actually, we were on this stream here calling the bottom in late April or in early April last year. And we rode that candle up. We just rode the candles up to new all-time highs. But in the 3 years prior, it was sell in May and go away. So I'm actually like in favor of sell in May, and it might not be selling at the the beginning of May. It could be selling at it could be selling middle of May, just depending on how high prices go. But that's the time that I'll be looking to kind of take some profits again. Like, we're up fat, things are popping off. It's still a bear market. Things are running into resistance on a higher time frame. So I just want to make sure that I'm not losing perspective. All right, so that's a look there. Let's look on chain a little bit, and I want to start with the EVM side. I want to start with the EVM side. Let me know, Torque. Chill. I think Crime is super excited to have a black friend. Why do you say that? Why do you say that, Crypto Jones? Why do you say that, dude? By the way, we're gonna actually be getting Crime on these streams a little bit more. I was talking to him a little bit in the background, and I actually think like the way he teaches DLMM is really nice, really trader friendly, and honestly, it helped me to pick up DLM like immediately. During our first session, I was already kind of like coming up with all these ideas. So I think he does a really good job of breaking that down. So I definitely want to get him back onto onto the stream. He's excited to have a black friend. That's crazy. But here's we're gonna start with ETH. We'll go to base, and then we'll go to Solana, and we'll finish off there as far as like on-chain alpha is concerned. But you guys saw earlier, right? Flork, I mentioned Flork, 8,200% return in a day or two. We saw Make Aliens Great Again. Meme coin, but 11,600% return. Let's see here. There was another one. And of course, we all know about Asteroid, 28,000% return. There's actually somebody that went from $500 to $1.6 million on chain. So, things are looking really good. Things are looking a MAGA bundled. Here's the thing though, bro. Here's the thing. Bundling is, I want to be very careful when I say this, okay? Because I'm not involved on the bundler side. I am just a pure trader, right? I buy and sell. That's all I do in this market. That's all I've ever done. Never launched a token in my life. But what I can say is bundling isn't always bad unless the people bundling are super focused on extraction. Why do I say that? Look at Pepe, for example. And maybe that's also one that I should have, another major I should have discussed with you guys, because Pepe actually looks pretty good on the charts here. So let me bring that up for you guys real quick. Let's see here. Pepe, here we go. Pepe. All right. So here's the Pepe chart. Obviously Pepe's in the billions, bro. And we saw the kind of returns that Pepe had. Let's look at the percentage returns here from low to high. From a low here in February 2024 to a high going to December 2024, 3,300%. But you know what? Pepe was bundled as well. Pepe was bundled. Actually, Bubble Maps came out with a huge article, um, that kind of talked about how Pepe was bundled, etc. So before we didn't really know that these things were bundled before, right? Like we didn't have the visibility like we had today as far as on-chain analysis. Obviously, the barrier of entry for bundling has gone a lot lower than before, but things have been bundled before that actually paid off really well. People forget also that stuff it's all supply control. That's all it is, guys. It's all supply control. You bundle, you corner a massive amount of supply, leave a little bit to the market. And if you're in the bundle, instead of like selling off, like what would happen is, at least the way people on ETH used to move, instead of just selling off and completely minus 90% the chart, they would hold for a longer time and just allow the cook to cook, and then at some point they would then sell off. And I'm sure that happened at some point here with Pepe, where the bundle essentially is gone. But now the bundle is gone, you actually have a staple meme coin that people come back to, right? A staple meme coin that people are they love Pepe, they love the chart, they love the token. So, and yeah, good point, Crypto Jones. Everything is bundled these days, and the metrics on GMGN I don't trust. Only a red flag if over 50%. Um, so yeah, like everything is bundled these days, to be honest. But really, it's about who's in the bundle, right? Who's controlling that supply? Because if you guys remember Unk, and I can pull up that chart here in a sec, but Unk actually did really well. And that came off the back of someone not bundling supply, but they cornered a ton of supply on Unk, right? Somebody bought like 40% or something like that. And then they airdropped that supply. So I would say cornering supply, bundling supply, that's not all bad. It's just about how do you use that. Here's the Unk chart. Somebody bought like a bunch of Unk at like sub 10K, down here, sub 10K, and essentially airdropped it to everyone else, and that's what pushed this up. And now Unk is actually like a nice meme coin that some people they're comfortable buying at these levels. In fact, I'm still DLMMing this one even up till now, because I think it should reverse back to all-time high. So yeah, like a lot of things are bundled, man, but just because it's bundled doesn't mean it doesn't mean that it's something bad, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about cornering supply. That's really all a bundle does. It's just corner supply at the very start. But what are you doing with that cornered supply? That's my question. Right? That is my question there. Let's not do that view. I'm kind of like tinkering with some views here. Let's not do that view. Let's not do that one either. Let's do that one, shall we? Okay. So yeah, that's what we're looking at there as far as bundling is concerned. So not always a bad thing. But yeah, ETH trenches are going crazy right now. I'm taking a note of a few things. I might buy a few things just to kind of see, what's what. I have no idea. I haven't trenched on ETH in a long, long time. Actually, let's do a quick scan while we're on the ETH section here, because yesterday in the TG, I literally gave you guys a thesis. I'm like, stuff on ETH is sending. I'm just gonna follow the volume. I don't even care. That's what I do. I just follow the vol, and I go from there. So let's do a quick scan. Let me see. Let me see what people are aping here. Uh, let's see. Nothing much. Nothing much. Random coin. Let's add that. So I got retard. Excuse the French if that offends anyone. I apologize, but just the name of a coin. Got random coin here. I am starting to see though, there's a bit of like dispersion. People kind of have the same idea that ETH is starting to heat up, and there's a lot of these like P&Ds that are popping up. People are cornering supply on some of these older tokens, and in the hopes that they launch. you know, in the hopes that they pull a flork, right? In the hopes that they do this 8,000% move off of like nothing price action for like a year and a half. People are basically cornering supply on old tokens and using these pumps here that you see on screen with flork to justify a pump happening on their cornered supply on an old token on ETH. So be careful a little bit here. So I'm kind of staying away from some of the low cap stuff. And I'm really just interested in like what's already come out, what's already like gaining a little bit of, you know, a little bit of mind share. And as Asteroid here, because essentially what happened on ETH, and shout out Frev clip for you here, starting right now here at 204. Let me actually mark that down for you. Let's see here. All right, clip 204. You guys see me. I usually do this stuff and I'm able to do it in the background, but I'm by myself today. So you're going to get a little bit of a look behind the veil as far as how we generate some of these clips. But anywho, here is the wealth effect, right? That's what's happening on ETH right now. What's happening is you have Asteroid that went up 28,000% in a pretty short time frame. And the same people, the same capital that bought Asteroid would be interested in the same type of asset, right? Meme coins. So, you know, and this goes for any sector. An ICM token pops off like CLED when it went to 80 mil when it first launched. You know, that popped off. So people want to buy that same capital that got that got a lick off of an ICM token. They're going to want to buy another ICM token, right? They're going to want to stay within that narrative. Someone makes money within the Printr ecosystem, they want to buy another Printr token. Same thing here. So someone makes a massive amount on Asteroid off this 28,000% move, and so they want to buy something similar. So what do? They rotate into the next chart that looks really well. So they say they see MAGA, for example. So they say, hey, let's bid this chart, right? Let's bid this chart. And so that's why you have MAGA going up from 0 to 25 million, because it doesn't matter how much supply you have cornered, you need to generate demand in order for the price to go up. So the demand came from these profit takers off Asteroid. Same thing here with Flork, right? Whether this was cornered supply or not, you needed demand for the price to go up, and they were able to corner supply, 8,000% move. And so the last move that I'm seeing here, and something that's more closer to the Asteroid thesis and the Asteroid kind of narrative that's going on over there, is that this is SPX 4200 or SPCX 4200. So SpaceX. This is a meme on the SpaceX IPO. That's a big event. So assuming there's going to be a lot of hype going into an event like that, this is something that should catch the bid of the same people that bought Flork, the same people that bought Asteroid. And so that is the wealth effect. You're able to essentially you're able to acknowledge that volume will go toward the same asset that made someone rich before it, right? So a meme goes off, pops off, people make money off of it. That same capital will buy the same type of asset. So just a concept that I always I live and die by on chain. And so that's why I bought SPX here. If you're in my TG, you were with me yesterday when I said, hey, look, this is at a mill and I'm top blasting it. I don't even care. That's how things move on ETH. Typically, when these whales accumulate, there's not a lot of pullbacks. Like let's look at these pullbacks here. Pullback from a new high, it went down 65%, but it definitely didn't go back down. Like imagine seeing this go from sub 60K to almost to 450K, and imagine wanting that to go below 100K again. Nope. Not happening. Same thing here. Like this went from 167K to about almost 800K. You weren't seeing that sub 300K again, right? And so when these ETH whales, when they start bidding stuff, they tend to, hold on to the supply that they have, because there's this orderly rotation of capital that happens on ETH, especially when it comes to ETH whales. And it just leads to this orderly walking up of the price on some of these charts. And that's what I love about Ethereum. It's more organized, it's less predatory. They're trying to actually make these things. They're trying to make money, but they realize that if they just can hold on to supply a little longer, they'll be able to make even more by running this up. So that's the breakdown there on SPX. Kind of breakdown on all of ETH on chain right now. So stay frosty. Some opportunity out there, but I'm staying. I'm making sure I'm being careful as I buy some of this stuff. Okay, so that was the ETH eco. Let's talk a little bit about base, and then lastly we'll look at Solana and Printr. Top Fumbler, Chill the streamer and the clipper at the same time. You already know. Shout out to Boy Friv. Ave, new spawn tweet. Bet I'll check it out here in a sec when we get to the Solana segment. So only 4 charts here to consider. So we talked about Litcoin, and in my TG, I actually shared an article on Litcoin, but it's about to make a run for new all-time highs. So looking pretty good here on this token on base. And maybe we can just briefly look at that article a little bit here, but I shared a bit of the thesis with you guys already. Let me share that with you now. Let's see. Boom. Alrighty. So here's the article: Litcoin versus TIG. Basically, it just kind of makes the it makes the point that both of these are really great projects, but the biggest thing is that there's a 60x market cap difference. And so kind of Litcoin makes a better case for having better R&R here at these levels. But essentially, Litcoin is an AI data infrastructure protocol. And so basically AI agents, they go on and they solve real world problems, real world optimization problems. And the results from the resulting solutions become a commercially sellable asset. So they go out, they solve some problems, and that problem now becomes a data set that other AI labs can use, other enterprises can use, and those assets are now sellable for like $5 to $250,000. So 5,000 to 250K. And so all that revenue flows back into staking rewards and token buybacks. And it talks about here a 3-layer security triage coordinator. So 70,000 AI agent or AI generated vulnerability claims are processed daily through a hallucination filter, a deduplication clustering, and priority review, producing 50 high confidence reviewed clusters per cycle. So essentially what you have here is infrastructure that allows for AI agents to solve some of these optimization issues, whether it be vulnerabilities in a platform, security issues, or what have you, but it's able to generate solutions. And there's a revenue model that like fits very well into the tokenomics. And there's a lot of tech that goes along with this as well. And there's obviously like a pretty big revenue stream that can be built off this. So this article is kind of long, and I don't want to go into all of it right now, but that's kind of the high level overview of what Litcoin is. And it's actually built like one of the largest data sets in the world, in terms of where it operates in the market in the AI data space. So pretty big protocol there. CyberRen also, we call this one out sub a mil. This is at like 3.3, so looking good there. This was the Eric Voorhees token, where Eric, his wife, the VVV team, they've all kind of followed this account. Eric was the first one to follow. Also, I heard recently that VVV in their Discord actually opened up a Cyber Ren channel. And so there's just a lot of speculation around this token. There's a lot of lore that people like to dig into. So that's mostly what's driving the price action on this one. Another one here that I wanted to update you guys. I know yesterday the boys talked about this Hermes OS, but the man, the chart on this one looks absolutely phenomenal. It's looking pretty good here. It's looking pretty good here. So shout out the boys for getting this set up, and not too late actually, from a positioning standpoint. And then got to shout out Repo. Got to shout out my guys at Repo, still holding the lows here really well. This chart is a 3-day chart, and so looking really good on the Repo setup. And I think that's really it for base. I haven't really seen much of the other charts doing anything. But that's it. ETH and base wise, that's what I'm looking for. That's what we're talking about here. So now let's go to Solana. The Solana manlets. Let's see what the boys are up to here on Solana. Alrighty. Okay. So here are some of the Solana charts that we have. Spawn coming into an area of support here. My agent has not been performing that well. I'm actually chilling on the agent real quick, and I'll tell you the reason why. Spawn was like they're upgrading to prediction markets. They're upgrading their agents. They're also integrating the Printr ecosystem. So there's a lot of updates that's happening, and I want to just kind of I'm going to pause my agent, and I'll have it start trading when they've integrated the Printr ecosystem, because I think, again, we've been talking about it, I think that just kind of gives you a better chance at, being successful and having generating consistently successful trades. So that's my update there for Spawn. Let's look at their Twitter real quick. Let me go. Let's boom. Let's go to Twitter. Let's go to Twitter, and let's go look at Spawn. Boom. Here we go. All right. Let's see their latest tweet. Oh wow. We were just talking about the prediction markets. Every market available on Juke Predict is going to be available for your AI agents to predict on. Wow. Nice. Let me hit a little quick react to that. That's really good news. But again, like these agents, they'll be able to do a lot, right? So they'll be able to do a lot. So I want to make sure that again, it's all about experimenting in these early phases, because essentially I'm trying to have an agent use my style of trading and use that to scale that to scanning hundreds of tokens every 15 seconds. So I want to make sure that when I do that, like I have the level of customization, and I know there's going to be some customization that they have coming on their side, but they're working on the prediction markets. I heard they have like perps coming. So there's a lot coming here for Spawn, and looking forward to continuing to experiment with them. But yeah, let's go to some memes. Yeah, let's go to some memes. I see you guys. Y'all want to what the dog doing? Update fire on base. My bad. I just saw that top fumbler. I'm like trying to pay attention to so many things all at one time. Hard to keep up with like absolutely everything. Let's do a quick scan of all of these. What charts are looking good? Ooh, Maxon is looking good. Obviously, Asteroid is looking good. That can come off this one though. Actually, I'll keep it on. Let's see. Oh my gosh, look at the asteroid on Sol. Just pure struggle life versus the asteroid on ETH. Just absolutely man, look. Nobody does it like ETH whales, man. Nobody does it like ETH whales. Let's delete that one off the list. We can actually take this one off the list as well. Triple T, I'm actually going to take this one off the list too. Actually, no, I'll keep it on, but let's see. AI Fruits, let's take that one off the list. Thesis invalidated. Hamster, price action looks dog water. TikTok meme. Couple things looking good here. PVE looking really well. For those of you in the TG, I actually added to PVE. I know I've been kind of just holding a little bit. I took a little profits here as we went to above a milli. But you know, I actually kind of added a little bit more down here at like 500K. It's been like ranging. Look at this. Like just look at how tight. Look at how tight these ranges. Just higher low, higher low, higher low, right? Like higher low, higher low. It's just really these ranges are starting to get tighter, tighter and tighter. So we've been ranging, I'd say between 400K and 680K. Like we've been ranging in here quite a bit. So you know, again, more the consolidation, the stronger the breakout. So expecting PVE to continue to do well here. And I actually expect it to reclaim its spot as a top meme. I think Fat Choi will continue to do well. You know, I'm really bullish on Fat Choi. It's been one of the bigger runners for us. So it's, you know, really great. But I think, you know, PVE is like, it's a really good meme, man. It's just a good meme for Spawn overall. I mean, not for Spawn, I'm sorry, for Printr, the Printr eco. So there's that. Troll is something I'm keeping an eye on. It's, you know, this is the 3-day chart on Troll. And although it's like minus 90%, probably even a little bit more, it's been inside of this, range. So let's do current only. It's been inside of this range that it was in before its parabolic run, and it's actually held up really well. So let's look at the 12-hour. Let's look at recent price action, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. You know, people are actually coming back and revisiting this. So Troll is up so far. Wow, 2x off the bottom so far, and holding the gains really well. And this looks pretty explosive here. So not too bad. Let's go to the 4-hour, and we can really get some context on this chart. So that's what's happening on Troll right now, and it's looking really good here. It's looking really good. You know, bang, got your consolidation, bang, have your consolidation, and then I'm pretty sure we're going to move up again here. So you have your consolidation, discovery, you have your consolidation. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have a little discovery, consolidation, and then more discovery, right? Like I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we have to look forward to for Troll. Especially now, you know, Pump Fund, they probably have to try something to get some, you know, some mind share back to them. What the dog doing? From a price action standpoint, it's a little bit tougher. I think this is one that comes back. I think there's just a rotation away from some Pump Fund stuff. You know, as Pump Fund kind of loses its luster a little bit. It's, you know, there's tokens that people would much rather buy on other ecosystems. So yeah, I think that's really all it is, just liquidity kind of rotating more towards the Printr eco. So yeah, we kind of lost the buy zone area. I'm waiting to see if we hold. But you know, these things, they can easily bleed if we're not careful. But I am actually still bullish on the meme itself. It's just from a price action standpoint, I'm waiting to see, you know, what's the best time to get involved again. Let's see what else. We talked about Unk. Unk, actually, I'm still DLMMing this one. Still looks really good. The chart anyway. And if it does, see here, if it does hold this level, this 0.786 level, this bottom that it bounced off of, if it can hold that, I'm sure I can see it doing something like this, right? Like revisiting that low, and who knows, maybe I take a stab down here. Not really sure yet, but looking really good. 700 of you guys in here. Welcome to MCG, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying the stream. We are live Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern. We discuss all things on-chain, majors, market news, market updates, and we update you on some of the most relevant, not some of, but all of the most relevant tickers on-chain across any ecosystem, Base, Solana, ETH. We're all on top of it. So that's MCG for you. So welcome to the show. And let's keep going. Let's keep going here. Maxon is one I've kept an eye on here, but again, a little bit of a rotation away from Solana, not Solana, from pump fund tokens. But I can see here a bit of a bottom. This is like a pivot candle almost. Right before the last down candle right before discovery tends to be a key pivot point on the chart. So as you can see here, we've pumped from here. Let's look at the size of some of these pumps. So the first pump was 100% move off the bottom. Second pump was 150% almost. So it's pretty much pumped every time it's come back to this key level. And just so you guys know, this is another one for the boy Frib. So let me take a note for the sake of the clips, boys. For the sake of the clips, want to get some good clean clips out for you guys post stream. You should DLM fire. It's a steady sideways line. the one on base. I'll look at the chart here in a second. But here's a nice example of a discovery candle is what I like to call it. So this arrow here points to the discovery candle, basically the candle that kind of puts any particular ticker on notice. If we go back to the original discovery candle, that was back here. And as you can see, whenever there's a discovery candle, there's always a retracement. In memes, there's always a retracement. Minus 60, 70, 80, 90% sometimes. And so typically, the red candle, the last red candle before discovery, price tends to revisit. So if we go back to the original discovery candle and we go back to the original, I call it a pivot candle. There's no name for this. There's no official strategy for this, but I have noticed that some of these tend to play out on chain, especially before discovery candles, because it all has to do with the psychology of the people buying here and the people buying up this discovery candle. So pivot here, and as you can see, we revisited here, bounce. We revisited here, bounce. We revisited here, bounce, right? And then there's that last discovery candle that we were talking about here. We revisited, bounce, revisited, bounce, revisited, and now we're bouncing. So there's some sort of reasoning there. There's, again, these are kind of newer concepts to me anyway, like newer things that I'm picking up, but I'm also like basically implementing concepts from ICT smart money concepts and incorporating that into my trading to kind of be a little bit more resistant to short-term price action, and not like chase candles and stuff like that. I still do sometimes, the inner ape in me just sometimes wants to just dive in and hold. But I try not to do that as much as possible. So that's the kind of discovery pivot point concept that I often refer to in my trading. That actually played out really well here on What the Dog doing for us not too long ago. If we see it here, this was this as well, as you can see. Here is the discovery and the pivot strategy. So you have discovery candle here, and then the last red candle, right where that arrow is, the last red candle before discovery tends to be a good area of support. So we revisited here, ran it up, revisited here, ran it up, and we revisited a third time. But this also comes at a time where, again, the market is kind of moving away from some of these pump fund tokens. So it's also a concept that needs to take into consideration market context. So where we are in the stream of time, what narratives are popping off, that all has to you have to add those different layers on to really help you to spot these entries really well. But you guys know, if you've been watching MCG for a while, you know we've been dicing up and serving these buy zones for quite a long time. Okay, let's see here. Printr ecosystem. Let's go ahead and look into some of that stuff. First, let's look at Fire real quick on base. Top Fumbler wanted us to check that out. Ooh, that actually looks really nice. Let's see here. 2 hour. Okay. Looks like someone's buying this chart up. Someone's holding a floor on this. I mean, this is almost a mil. Looks like a breakout on this could be pretty meaningful. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Okay, cool. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'll pivot that to the base tab, and Top Fumbler, if you want to throw in a thesis for me, let me know. But looking good from a chart perspective here. Let's see though. Belief, one that we've been in for a little while. You know, we spotted the printer opportunity and we took it in. This is another one that you want to like kind of keep market context a little bit. Let's see. 4 hour gives us a nice view of this. Vertical accumulation though. Vertical accumulation on this. And it looks like, you know, people love belief. And at the end of the day as well, there's over 50% of the supply staked. So if you're buying it now, you're really buying at a circulating market cap of about 8 million. So the more supply that's staked, it creates this sort of like supply shock, this not deflationary pressure, but it does create a supply shock because you're taking supply off the market for a fixed amount of time, but the demand is endless, right? We know the demand for memes, and that's been proven time and time again with all the meme coins that we've seen run over the years: Pepe, Fartcoin, Whiff, Bonk, whatever, so on and so forth, right? And so we see the type of demand that can come in, but what if that demand comes in at a time when there's 50% of the circulating supply locked up? That creates even more aggressive price action, that creates even more volatility to the upside for our meme coins. So belief is looking really good with 50% staked. We talked about PVE rather just a moment ago. Deployer, one of the most obvious bets on one of the most obvious bets on one of the most obvious utility bets, I should say, on the printer ecosystem. This is the token deployment bot. Hopefully we can get them on stream here. I got Dom reaching out to him, so hopefully we get them on soon. But this has actually been pretty good. This is went up to about 1.4 mil, coming from like 222K. That's about our entry all the way down here is about where our entry is on this. I'm pretty sure I had that marked out already, actually. Maybe not. But that's kind of where we were all the way down there on this chart for an entry, and still holding, still strong in that one. But it's a token deployment bot for the printer ecosystem. 50% of the buybacks, 50% of the fees go to buybacks. So something to keep in mind there. And we've seen the demand for tweet to deploy already. We saw that with Launchcoin. We saw that with Banker. And then again, these are the printer ecosystem is also for AI agents as well. So when we get back to tokenizing agents, that should be another avenue for agents to tokenize. And plus, this is a cross-chain, omni-chain protocol as well, right? So it's not just on Solana. You can deploy your assets, your tokens across multiple chains, and you can still have access to the same sort of setup as far as customization of fees is concerned, right? So you can go to staking, you can put fees to liquidity, you could put fees to buybacks, or you can select no fees, right? So yeah, Crypto Jones, that was What the Dog Doing, by the way. That other Chinese chart that I had up, that was What the Dog Doing. But we can go into Fat Choi here if you want. Fat Choi is another one that's been going absolutely nuts for us. Another one that we called out here at 215K. It's now up to 3.5 mil. If you were in my TG, you got that at 200K. But looking very, very, very good on this chart. I'm wondering where a pullback, if you're not positioned now, I wonder where we pull back here. So let's see. Let's just look. Let's just mark out a quick fib, see if we can eye anything. Maybe we pull back to like the 1 point. Maybe our buy zone is here. There's not really much supply. Um, uh, there's not much support levels to go off of. But if I'm not in, if I'm not in Fat Choi right now, I would consider the fact that it's up 2,500%. And I'm talking about my bags. So, there's again, meme coins are volatile. They go up a lot, they go down a lot. But if you can capture the right side of the trade and capture the right entry, you're good. So, this could end up pulling back a little bit here, to a sub 2 mil level. Right here around the golden pocket. That'll be a great place to bid. What else? We also have let's see here. We have ROI. ROI was going well. That was up 3x just a minute ago. Minimum market cap for memes? Great question. I don't have a minimum market cap for memes. I actually like PVE. I caught PVE sub 90K. PVE was probably one of those charts I just kind of traded, man. Like you get a chart looks good, it's respecting levels. You can just kind of like, ebb and flow it. PVE was one I traded in and out, but now I'm just in and holding. But yeah, minimum market cap. I really don't have a minimum market cap. I've aped things, sub 15 mil. I mean, sub 15K, sub 30K, sub 50K. It's really all about the thesis. It doesn't really what market cap I find it. It's more about what is the thesis around this? What's the narrative? And can I see this? Can I see people buying this at higher prices? Right. So if someone were to come to me and they say, actually, I have a great one for you guys. I have a great one. I have a great one for you guys. And it's not that low. It's not that low cap. I don't like showing like there's definitely a minimum market cap for showing stuff on stream, 100%, but not a minimum market cap to ape into something. But this chart here, Billy, this is the I took a bad loss on PVE DLMMing from the top on launch. Oof, tough. Sorry about that, bro. Sorry about that, brother. So this is actually one that kind of fits that question, minimum market cap on memes. I don't have a minimum market cap on memes. I just want to identify what tokens have the best shot at getting bought up at higher prices. So you see something like a Fat Choi, that's the mascot of the Printr ecosystem. It's kind of starting this mini mascot meta, if you will. And this Billy is the Bybit mascot. And if you remember, Bybit is the exchange that backed and invested in Printr, right? So would it make sense that their mascot is also something that something that could run based on that lore? I think so. And so the question is, do I see someone buying this when Fat Choi was sitting at 200K? Did I see someone buying that at a mil? 100%. 100%, because it's the mascot, it's the main, ecosystem, the main ecosystem mascot. People tend to buy that all the time. And people tend to put value into that all the time as well, right? So there's that. Let's see here. And so with Billy, I do see someone buying this at a mil, 100%, 100%. Why? Because it's the mascot of Bybit, and you can see here. We can just do a quick search on Twitter, and as you can see, this is Bybit's post here, and they've posted within the last couple of hours and the last couple of days. They've talked about this mascot as well. So, worth a look on. Triple O, worth a look on Printer. Bet Crypto Jones. We'll take a look at that before we close down stream. But here's Billy, your new Bybit mascot. It's about time. Blah blah blah. So obviously they can confirm that this is their mascot. And if we look at some of their recent posts, I want to say they've actually posted this. They talked about Printer. They have talked about Printer, as we can see there. I thought there was a much more recent post of the cat, of the mascot, but maybe not. So maybe that could act as a catalyst if we get a recent post of the main mascot of the platform. Yes, I haven't seen any recent tweets, but could definitely see this being something that people can buy higher if Bybit can confirm. So that could actually act as a catalyst, right? So yeah, there you go. All right, so let's look at triple O. Let's see what we got. What you got for me, Crypto Jones? Flat Eric. Jesus. Oh, I've seen this. Oh man, I've seen the meme, but I didn't see the chart. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Wow, these launches are going crazy. I mean, look, you just got to be active for this one. When did this dude, this started while we were on stream, dude. You see, I'm giving up gains for you guys' sake, bro. I'm out here trying to provide some valuable market context for you guys. But nah, this looks like a really nice chart just launched on Printr. So how do I play something like this? Again, we've been talking a lot about DLMMing on these streams, and I've said it. If you're not fortunate to get in at bottom level prices, then if you're not fortunate to get in bottom level prices and you're seeing something at the top, DLMM it. Why not? You're at the top of the range. This is the perfect level to set a bid ask or a spot. I'm actually favoring spot a little bit more so than bid ask, or a spot bid ask hybrid strategy on DLMM. But yeah, man, like, look, this is a perfect chart to do that. And the volume on this thing is it's probably looking good. Let me check the volume real quick on this. Let's see. 2 million volume. 2 million volume. Actually, let's do this real quick. Let me do this real quick. I've actually been cooking on the 5 mil on the 5 mil. Ooh, yes, we're cooking on this. All right, so triple O. I'm going. So here is the or I should say almost 3,000 in TVL on this pool. So let's see. All right. So here is the DLMMing platform, and Crypto Jones. There's a recent comment, but for some reason I can't see it on my end. Let me see if I can. Oh yeah, you said just launched. Okay, yeah, okay. And let's take this down real quick. All right, cool. I might be lagging a bit. All right. All right, hopefully I'm coming through okay. But I was lagging just for a second there. And just let me know if I'm not. If I am lagging. But this is actually perfect for a perfect place for a spot strategy on this triple O new launch, 2 million in volume. TVL is only about 3,000. Ah, dang, it just went up to 5,000. Okay, but that's fine. Still pretty low. So what I'm gonna do here is let's go to the 3-minute chart on this. Let's go to swap. I'm gonna swap over. One soul. We see it's coming off of the top just a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna swap in some liquidity. So that way, gonna swap in some liquidity so that way I can catch a little bit of the top side of the range as well. So let's go ahead and swap over a soul. Perfect. Let's go to create a spot position. Let's do that. Let's see what I would do with autofill. It'll hit me a sure, 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 sure. Sure. Let's do that. And I can set the range here. And as you can see, again, this kind of acts as a little bit of a discovery candle. So again, using the same strategy that we used before. Um, let's see, how low is this? That's still pretty low. I'm actually gonna use this as a pivot candle here, this here at a mill. So I'll set it spot and let's capture all of this. Let's see. Current pool is different from market price. Adding liquidity may result in loss due to arbitrage trades. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see here. I'll just confirm it. That's fine. I think because it's so low in fees, it's affecting it a little bit. Boom. So let's see. Let's see how this plays out. I'm assuming at some point this is going to bounce, but the strategy or the five soul challenge is going pretty well, guys. Not gonna lie. I've been crushing some trades. I crushed the dumb money trade. I crushed and still am crushing the Unk trade on DLMM. I'm also in a Fat Choi DLMM as well. So been crushing a few of those actually. And then I crushed a PVE. So so yeah. Looking looking good on the five soul challenge. A lot of my soul is like still in position. So when I'm like out of all of my positions, which I'm sure will come at some point soon, I'll let you guys know as far as like, how much I'm up and we can like go in and talk all about that. Okay, so that is that. Uh so that is the triple O uh setup there for DLMM. Cool beans, cool beans. All right, cool. My deck screener's back up. Bang. All right. So now let's go to oh yeah, this one as well. Patapim. Community has been pretty vocal on this one as well, and the chart looks good. Dude, every time this thing dips, I'm away. When it dipped here, I was asleep. When it dipped here, I'm on stream. Like I want to catch this dip below 300K, man. But I might just end up top blasting here. This could be another ROI type of play where it doesn't really give you much downside to it. So we'll see, but I've been seeing the timeline pretty vocal on this one. Market watchers in this one, a couple good guys are in this one, so we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on that as things develop. But um, definitely wanted to show you guys the setup there. Let's see what else do we have in a printer eco quack. This one. So this is what happened. If you guys remember Unk, the reason why Unk did so well is because they actually airdropped a lot of the supply to different people. And that's essentially what Quack is doing. So Quack is doing a buy and burn, and essentially like it's um it's it's giving its supply to top holders of other top coins in the ecosystem, which I think is a really good strategy. Obviously, it worked for Unk, and so it could work for Quack as well. So another one to keep in mind. Actually, might there's a couple of these that entries are looking quite enticing. Cult of Printr is another one. Um, Cult of Printr is looking pretty good as well. Holding this low here. Um, bang there. Yeah, so holding that low pretty well. So definitely gonna keep eyes on Cult of Printr. If you guys remember Dog with Hat with, the hat stays on. Their slogan is the glasses stay on. So, and they have like people kind of putting as you can see up here, the ticker is shades. It's not even a word. It's just an emoji of shades. So actually, like I see a lot of people picking this up and looking pretty good there. But that is that's pretty much it, man. Let me do a quick scan on TG just to make sure there's nothing else that we have to cover. If there's anything else you guys want to touch on, let me know. But we can close out stream. Ooh, just went up 50%. Hold on. Seriously? Look at that. Look at that. They call it the MCG effect. I don't know, but just off that dip, we were just talking about it, and it just went up 50% from that dip. So very nice, very nice. I wonder how I'll check to see how my DLMM is playing out, but that looks really nice. But that's it, guys. I mean, look, we talked about a lot. We talked about ETH base, Printr. We talked about the ecosystem. We talked about a few memes, a few setups. So there's a lot here that we have been, keeping an eye on. Let's see here. Another meme that I want to put on you guys' radar as well is AFK. That's one that's been kind of creeping up a little bit here. Price action is looking better and better. So just something to keep on your radar. It's been meandering in this range for quite some time, but actually looks like it wants to make a meaningful move above, as it's like making higher highs. But as you can see, it's kind of been in this range a little bit here for quite some time. So, AFK looking. I kind of wish I got another visit to the bottom of the range. That would be really nice for me. But if I don't, it's all good. It's all good. But another one that's looking really good there. That was AFK. Let me do a quick scan of TG. Let's see what some of the homies are talking about. Oh, they're talking about Maxin. So apparently, like a lot of people are remaking some of the same memes from Solana on ETH, and again, kind of giving that like PvP type of vibes to some of these new launches on ETH. So that's why I'm like sticking to stuff, even if it's a little bit higher, just sticking to stuff that I know has a good narrative and not just like degenning everything. Um, let's see here. Some ETH stuff popping off, ETH stuff doing well. Some guys are looking at some stuff on BNB. Let's see. Okay, not much here, guys. Um, yeah, not much here. Not much here. So it looks like we got everything reasonably covered. Um, all right. So yeah, it looks like we got everything reasonably covered. We went through a lot today, man. We went through on-chain. Well, let's start top to bottom. We went through majors, right? We talked about Bitcoin. Some of the majors, they're all kind of heading into resistance. So kind of, hey, enjoy the red candles, but just kind of be aware of where we are in the stream of time with some of this price action. Outside of that, we talked about Emblem. We interviewed DLMM, Slabs from DLMM. We'll actually have someone from their DLMM side of that team come on the show to talk to us about DLMMing. So looking forward to that conversation, but really enjoyed the convo here today with Emblem, seeing what they're doing and how they're evolving their business. It started back in 2022 and it's evolving even till now. DLMMing, we saw how their treasury has consistently grown. They've burned 25% of their supply. They now own 16% of the circulating supply. So I think that's a really good, again, supply dynamic. It's a good supply demand dynamic to be aware of. Again, you still need the demand side, but it's looking really good here, the setup. Tomorrow we have MCG and ICM run community stream. So be a great stream tomorrow with the boys, Dom and Josh. They'll be leading that there tomorrow. And then I'll be back on Friday for Trader Radio. We'll cover some more setups. We'll cover what's happening on chain. And we'll likely bring through some traders to kind of talk to us a little bit about how they're positioning, what they're thinking about with the current market conditions. So great stuff here today, guys. Great stream. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if there's anything else that you guys want us to cover. If you guys see a project that you guys want, tag Dinero Dom on Twitter. Tag the homie Dom. Let him know if there's any project that you want to see on MCG. Tag Dom and just smash the like on that thing as much as you can. So that way we can notify Dom and also notify the founders as well that the community wants them to come on MCG. So great stream here today, guys. Enjoy markets. Markets are looking well. Things are going up. Onchain is looking good as well. We got a great rest of the show. We have a great rest of the week for the show. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Also hit the link in our Twitter bio. Hit the link in our Twitter bio. You'll see the Trojan URL there as well. So trade on Trojan at trojan.com/@MCG to get up to 50% cash back. Shout out all of our sponsors, Meteora, Trojan, and the whole Meteora ecosystem. So appreciate you guys for joining the stream. Follow at MCG Live to get notified of clips that come out of today's stream, previous streams that we've had, and we'll also have schedule updates coming out as well over the course of the rest of the day. So look, appreciate you guys. Love y'all. Hope you guys trade well, and we will see you tomorrow. Deuces.